But first things first, we have to do a few things. That being the trials, and then we have one final episode that I haven't done yet. Oh, as well as do some more of these. So you know what? I'll do these first.
Amazing where we are after where we've been, huh?
You said it. Can't say I'm all that proud of my past, but it gave me the strength I need to stand with the team. Though I still wouldn't change a thing.
Same. We owe it to every person who believed in us to keep fighting as hard as we can.
Okay.
Job well.
Burst with Team Hot Curves. Great team name. Activate one burst. Easy.
Come! Perfect! Let's go! I'm on it! Pierce through! Rosetta arrow! All right!
Nice.
I'm going! Death awaits to shred! Yeah!
My shoulders are starting to feel stiff again. I'm going to say it's your bra. They say a bad bra can really put on the hurt after a while.
Speaking of, I've heard rave reviews on the newest line of shapewear from Mariage Krause.
I've been wondering, is it practical enough for everyday wear, though? They're more about being sexy than anything. And to that I say, what's the harm in adding a little spice? It's fun getting adventurous with your wardrobe from time to time.
Oh, for sure! Let's go do some lingerie shopping next time we're free.
Truly a conversation I wanted to hear.
I put in my best for that.
Swift and sure with Team Tomboys. Oh, that's an easy one.
Hurricane! It's my turn. Oh. I'm thinking of picking up something fun that'll get my body moving, you know?
How about tennis? That'll get the blood
thanks.
pumping.
It's gonna be fun.
Swimming would do just as well. It makes for excellent training in both body and mind.
Nothing beats bike racing if you ask me. You won't get a better high from anything else in Zemuria. Trust me.
No need to raise your hands all at once, guys. But what the hell? I'll try them all.
Team Trails Blazers. Activate a chain battle.
Now! It's up! All right. How up? Right. Zero breaker!
No problem.
It's my turn. Cut through! Who knew we'd see the day when the three of us would be fighting together on the same side?
Please, I wouldn't put such a noble spin on it. Our interests just so happen to align toward a common goal.
Maybe. I'd argue that's plenty noble. And now that we're a team, we're 3 times as likely to get to the bottom of everything that's going on.
Links with Team Cute and Clever. Activate 3 links in a single battle. 1.
It's my turn.
You girls have got some mega-sized brains on you. Who knew I'd be lucky enough to work with other walking calculators?
It's a rare treat, isn't it? A pleasant reminder that you never truly know who you'll meet in the spine world. I'm sure if the 4 of us put our heads together, we could take over Zemuria in no time flat.
Do it.
If I didn't know any better, I'd say you were serious about that. joking, right? Right?
I only get cuter as
I'm pooped.
Alright, we can probably do the rest afterwards. I don't know how many more we have left, but let's just get to work on those trial doors now. So I have to get Claire to... Why do you go back up here? To 185, I think. I bought the wrong one.
Detected.
What a waste.
Activating requisitions program.
Oh my god, dude. I'll find now, right? That's less disgusting. Okay.
Trials available.
Dad!
it's strong. Please be extra careful. There! A chance!
It's mine!
There! Now!
It's mine!
I'll take care of it. On guard. Arcus, activate.
Yes.
I'll show you the true strength of ice!
Okay! Here I go!
Could be doing better.
That really hurts.
Woohoo! My decoration!
Ah, crud. Yeah!
Perk up!
Thanks!
Ready.
Can do this.
There! A chance!
It's mine!
I'll take care of it. Cut you down!
Why not? All right. Speed things up.
There! A chance!
It's mine!
Yes.
I'll show you the true strength of ice! There! A chance!
It's mine!
Okay! Arcus, activate!
Why not?
You just keep this up the entire time.
Good to go. This your card? Fine card it is.
There!
Perk up!
Thanks!
I should
Yes.
just move Rufus. What a waste.
Engage Mortal Barrage! Now!
It's mine!
I'll take care of it.
Yeah, just move Rufus over to like somewhere else.
Good to go.
All right. Arcus, activate.
Okay! Yeah!
Perk up!
Thanks! Going! Giving it all swish, swish, kaboom! Got it!
Too late!
Okay! Woohoo! Okay!
Thanks much. Why not?
I'll take care of it. Arcus, activate.
There! A chance!
It's mine!
Go! Go! Going! There!
Thank you.
It's my turn.
Engage Mortal Barrage! There! Now!
It's mine! Why not?
On guard. Arcus, activate.
There! Now!
It's mine!
Okay! Here I go!
There! A chance!
It's mine!
There!
Perk up!
Thanks!
There! Now!
It's mine! I don't mind.
All right.
Woohoo!
On guard. Arcus, activate.
I can't fall here.
Excuse me?
Going! There!
Perk up!
Thanks! Going!
Keep it up.
Going! Here I go! Yeah!
Thank you.
Perk up!
Thanks!
There! Now!
It's mine!
All right.
There! A chance!
It's mine!
Thank you.
Good to go.
There!
Going! There!
Thanks much.
It's my turn.
Ha! Ready! I'll show you the truth!
It's my turn.
There! A chance!
It's mine!
I've got you!
Got tenfold!
I don't mind.
Very painful.
Thanks!
There! A chance!
It's mine!
Going!
Yeah, no more Reverie. And then it's gonna be a long wait for the next one. Sad, really. Truly.
Yeah!
Thanks much.
Interesting.
Woo! Fly decoration!
Interesting.
Uh-oh.
Thanks much.
Thanks!
Not this again. Who's dead? Oh, Rufus. Goodbye, Rufus. My men got singled out.
I misjudged you.
Good to go.
Thanks!
Thank you.
Okay! Arcus, activate!
Yes.
Woohoo! Fly decoration!
Ready! I'll show you the true strength of ice! There! A chance!
It's mine!
Yeah!
Thank you. Perk up!
Thanks!
There! Now!
It's mine! I don't mind.
I'll take care of it.
What's next? I really don't know. Like, I might try Armored Core for a little bit, see how I like it. But beyond that, I'm really not too sure. I don't think I want to jump back to, like, and play Azure again right away. I want to give myself a break from, like, Trails for a little bit. But I'm really not sure. Oh. I'll probably check out Ghost Trick or something. I haven't played a mystery game this year, so I probably have to, like, play something.
Arcus, activate.
Ready.
Shatter!
I don't mind.
There's also that that Danganronpa clone from Spike that also released earlier.
There! A chance!
It's mine!
Go in! Woohoo! Go in! Here I
Let me
go!
see if I can find it.
All right.
Oh yeah, Raincoat, that's the one. Might consider that one too.
Arcus, activate.
There! A chance!
It's mine!
Yeah!
There! Now!
It's mine! I don't mind.
There! A chance!
It's mine!
Okay!
I'm gonna have to, like, something to fill the gap until Like a Dragon Guiding comes out. Who knows what it's gonna be?
All right.
I don't even know. Healing doesn't matter. What am I doing?
It's mine!
Thank you.
There! A chance! Let your...
It's my turn. Yes.
I'll show you the true strength of ice! There! A chance!
It's mine!
There! A chance!
It's mine! Good to go.
Yes.
There!
All right.
Ooh. Can I kill you? Hmm. Can I even try?
Won't let this chance slip. Now!
Okay!
Can these four do 183,000 damage?
Keep it up.
Go in! Ha! It broke!
Too late.
Planning! I transform! Spin! Hellbreaker!
On guard. How plain.
An opening!
Okay, that should be enough.
Okay. Playtime is over.
If not, and I die, I'll be really sad.
For a night! Okay. Later. Sorry, you just picked the wrong fight.
Yay! I overestimated that fight before I even started because I forgot Milliam's order reduced damage by 90%. which essentially trivialized the majority of the fight. Okay, and the last one. Okay, let's see how that works.
Trial door presented.
Last one.
Think you can make this a little fun? Too slow! Too slow! Yeah. Not gonna let me... More! How about... Burn to ass! Too slow! Get lost! Too slow! More! Get lost! Get lost! Too slow! How about... Burn to ass! Too slow! More! Give me more of this! Think I'll pull out this little number for... Burn through! Ladder! Too slow! Think I'll pull out this little number for once.
The heck?
Take this! How
That
about
is very
this?
painful.
Burn to ass! Too slow! More. Give me more of this. Think I'll pull out this little number. Burn through! Ladder! Too slow! Get lost! Too slow! How about burn to ass? Too slow! Now it's getting fun. Too slow! Guess it's me. Yeah. Guess it's not gonna let me down. More. Give me more. Burn to the ground. My blood's boiling. Now for something a little different. Take that!
Spirit ball!
Incandescent hellfire! How about this?
Very painful.
Too slow! Too slow! More! Give me more of this! Burn to the ground! Too slow!
Okay, I'm doing way more
How
damage.
about burn to ass? Too slow! Too slow! Think I'll pull out this little number for once. How about burn to ass? Too slow! Get lost! Too slow! More! Give me more of this! Get lost! How about burn to ass? Too slow! Now it's getting fun. Yeah. Get lost! Yeah. Not gonna let me. Now it's getting fun. Burn to the ground. Little. Now it's getting fun. Oblivion blaze. Now it's burn to the ground. Mind if I turn up the heat? This one's a scorcher! Incandescent hellfire!
Close.
My blood's boiling! Now for something a little different. Take that! Incandescent hellfire!
Ow!
How about burn to ass? Too slow! Get lost! Too slow! Too slow! More! Give me more! Burn to the ground! How about burn to ash? Too slow. Get lost. Too slow. Get lost. Too slow.
Oh, I got it.
Mind if I turn up the heat?
I had such a harder time doing this like the first time, like way back when, because I could barely read what I had, and I kind of had to like do some like patchwork stuff just to make it happen.
Incandescent Hellfire!
Now that I can actually read what I have, not a problem.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
Incandescent Hellfire 2. Hey. Let's go. Primordial Emperor. So that's still what's the Uno character profile that I don't have? What is the single one that I do not own? Who's the rando? I have them all? Interesting. I guess it's not counting here. Let's see the episode. But I don't want this on McBurn anymore. What the hell did I do?
Slab of Reminiscence activated.
Right. The last one. Three months after the Battle of Jormungand's end, Major Riva had sent me a confidential letter. I had no reason to decline the request within, and so I paid a visit to Volflame Palace. Through memories aglow.
Huh? That felt too real to be a dream. I could be wrong, but I think I'll trust my gut on this one. He was always prioritizing the happiness of others, while shouldering burdens one should never have to bear alone. Like father, like son, huh? I wish I could have done more for him. Right. I still can. My father gave me life, and my friends gave me a reason to live that life. Simply living well is the best way I can repay him and my mother. That doesn't absolve the bad, but...
Morning, Kurt. The weather's beautiful today, huh? I'm so bad at waking up early.
Good morning, Yuna. Alpina. And what a coincidence. You, Jay, and Ash are coming out at the same time.
A new day, a new diet to keep myself cute for the inspector. I binged on way too much sugar last night.
Thought I could sneak out before you guys.
No skipping out for you, Grumpy Gus. Now let's get to running.
Time to start the day.
Very nice. Short and sweet. Good last episode to have a different ending screen on.
Detected.
You have it, you have it, you have it, you have it. You have it. Yes, you do. 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 Alright. Here we go.
I'll make this simple.
Proceeding beyond this point will cause the story to advance. All characters will be called to take part in a 3-team battle. To ensure victory, prepare all party members for as much as possible and purchase all desired upgrades with phantasmal shards. Proceed. I'm here for the banger music. Oh man, when this first played, chills. Let's go.
Anomalies detected. Identify yourselves. Hostile intent detected. Those who oppose extinction must be eradicated. Activating defense mechanisms. Commencing eradication.
I'm ready. The final battle must be fought using 3 teams. The teams will fight in ABC order, so ensure that all 3 have equal strength as possible. How convenient. It's already set up for me. I just have to switch A and B. Alright, now I just need to fix the tag-alongs here. So there's an accelerator in each. You have break, you have crit, you have damage, you have delay, absorption. Okay, so whatever I put here really doesn't matter. You have crit, damage, evasion, break. Missing something for damage. Works for me. Let's go.
Insolent vermin. May the fires of causality reduce you to ash. Cease. Disappear.
I still have much to learn. Allow me.
Excuse me? I forgot Rufus had the pure yellow pendulum on him.
Much obliged. Allow me.
Well, I get situated.
Allow me. All for one and one for all! Now, together!
Cease.
Back tenfold!
It's me!
Cease.
Wide open!
Cease.
That is very painful.
I'm sorry, S.
Disappear. Cease.
Best.
So this is what it's like to not have a turn.
I'll take it from here.
I get it.
Oh! I'll take it from here.
Thank you.
I think. Let's begin.
Gleam! Calamity Sphere!
Let's begin. I'll leave it to you. I got you. There. Ready? Target locked. Okay. Time to settle this. Detonate! Keep at it!
Too late. All right. I shall leave this to you.
I accept. Oh! Forward. Oh, gleaming gale gather. Oh, break forth! Putin's fury! This is it! Asking for it! Let's begin. Wind, raise me whole. Allow me. All for one.
It's me! Let me out!
I accept.
Gleam! Calamity Sphere!
On guard. All right. Blade of darkness. How plain.
Too slow.
On guard.
Oh, I forgot to do this.
I shall leave this to you.
I'm it. The doll sees all. I've seen through your game.
Forward. They're down. Asking for it. Okay. All for one. and I shall. Ready. You won't get...
Wow.
I leave the rest to you.
I accept. I'll take care of it.
Won't let this chance slip. Now!
All right.
Gleam! Calamity
I love the
Sphere!
acceleration cheese.
All
It's
right.
so much fun.
Blade of darkness. Tear them asunder! Outplane.
Got you! My turn! You're it! Let me at him! Arcus activate!
I'll take it from here. All for one?
On it.
Yay!
Perk up!
My new BFF!
Okay.
Gleam! Calamity Sphere!
Okay. Ha! Okay. Target locked. On it. Time to settle things. Detonate! They're down!
You're up!
Forward. Moving in! An arcane gale! This is it! Too late!
How shall we play? Let me out!
I'll handle this. Ready! All for one! Ready! You won't get...
On guard. I'll take care of it.
Won't let this chance slip. Now!
On guard.
Gleam! Calamity Sphere!
I'll take care of it.
Okay. I'm almost gonna run out of steam, so I better break this thing.
How about this? Renegade Edge! Outplane. Too late!
There we go.
Okay. Target locked. Keep at it!
Too slow. Let's begin.
Carve through! Shadow step!
Let's begin. Moving in! An arcane gale! This is it! Too late! And I shall. Foolish!
Asking for it!
I'll take it from here. Moving in! An arcane gale! They're down! Too late!
Ready? Time to settle this! Detonate! They're down!
Too slow! And I shall. Savage wind, be as one with my sword. Here I go!
Thanks, Arios.
Escape is... Kill it all! Oh! Second flash! Raging Tempest!
Disappear.
A respectable 114,000. I know, right? Oh no, she's hot.
That I might again gaze upon the real world. Infinite fates interweaving, disorder, nihility. What a glorious world it is.
Get that demi-gussy.
All who stand before me, raise your voices. Rejoice. I shall drown you in the most beautiful wellspring of despair. Rejoice.
Oh god.
I'm sorry.
Seems like let my guard down.
Excuse me?
Time to show off.
Crow's only alive because he was stealthed. Alright.
Moving out.
Thanks, I guess.
Thank you.
Time to show off. All yours. Leave it to me. Time barrier, break! Right. Break them! Raging hammer! It's my turn. Up to you.
I'll handle the rest.
Oh, I didn't put Chrono Burst on her. Whoops.
Analyzing enemy unit. I see now.
I'd rather do anything else. I'd rather do anything else. I'd rather do anything else. Cornered like a rat.
Attack! Very well.
Break them!
Very. Very well.
Hang in there! Heaven's kiss!
It's all me. Take over, would you?
Leave it to me! Yeah! Yeah! Now! Take this!
Yeah.
All for one, and one! Leave it to me! Switch with me! Watch and learn. As your strength, surge! All right.
All right. If you could.
Leave it to me! Time barrier, break! Time to show off. It's showtime!
Guess it's me. Not gonna let me down, are ya? Now
Right there!
More. Give me more.
All for one,
And one for all!
Get over here so we can do
Nothing!
this! Let's go!
Oh, my favorite pastime. Lloyd yelling.
Let's go! Let's do this! This is it! Tiger charge! Now! Wide open!
More. Give me more of this. Think I'll pull out this little number for once.
Burn through!
Splatter! Cornered like a rat.
Take this! All right. All for one. Next round. Switch with me.
I'll take it from here.
Hang in there! Heaven's kiss!
It's all me. Brianos, be a dear and lend me a hand. Now, finish them off! There!
About time.
Time to show off. It's showtime! They're down! There!
Now it's getting fun.
It's my turn.
Hang in there!
Right. Let's do this. This is it. Tiger charge! They're open! Wide open!
Now it's getting fun. Think I'll pull out this little number for burn through. Splatter! Got him down.
Take this!
Moving out. As your strength, surge! Moving out. It's showtime! They're down! There!
I will go. Wonderful! I will go.
Break that!
I will go.
All for...
I will go. Hang in there! Heaven's kiss!
Okay.
Very well.
Now I'm out. United fronts. I better break it.
Brianos, be a dear and lend me a hand. Now, finish them off! You're mine!
About time. Guess it's me. Guess it's me. Ha! I'd rather do anything else.
Time to show off. It's showtime! They're down! There! Let's go! Right!
Hang in there! Heaven's kiss!
Right! Let's do this! This is it! Tiger charge! They're open! Wide open!
I'd rather do anything. Not gonna let me down, are ya? More. You got lost. Cornered like a rat.
Take this!
Time to show off. It's showtime!
There we go.
I will go. Heck! You're mine!
About time. Now it's getting... More. Give me more of this. Think I'll pull out this little number. Burn through. Splatter. Cornered like a rat.
Take this!
More. Give me more of this. Think I'll pull out this little number. Burn through. Splatter. Got him down.
Take this!
Time to show off.
Hang in there! Heaven's kiss!
Moving out. There! There! Let's go! Right! Let's do this! This is it! Tiger charge! Now! Wide open!
Now it's getting fun.
McBurn definitely can't do that much damage. Definitely not.
Yeah. Cornered like a rat.
Take this!
However, I can try.
I'd rather do anything else. Got lost. Cornered like a rat.
Take this! It's all me. Take over, would you?
Leave it to me!
288.
Time barrier, break! Moving out.
Thanks, I guess. I'd rather do anything else. Not gonna let me... Now it's getting fun. Now it's getting fun. Break them! More. Give me more of this. Get lost. Got him down.
Wide open!
More. Give me more of this.
Dance! Azure feathers!
Now it's getting fun.
It's my turn.
How much? 234. Let's see.
Mind if I turn up the
If he
heat?
crits, I think he does it.
This one's a scorcher! It doesn't help fire!
Oh, close. Yeah, if he... I see. Yeah, if he crit, he would have got it.
Alright, let's do this! Blade of Darkness, cleave my foe! See you in Gehenna! Forceful Slayer!
Downside is, I'm entering the last part with this 1 VP.
May destruction befall you.
The main event.
Why do you not wish? Why choose freedom? Wish not for the bliss of eradication, and eradication shall be forced upon you. Activating eradication protocols. Be gone from existence. Increasing output. More power required. May I see to the destruction and rebirth of all humans of the post-Zemurian age. Sing my praises.
Oh no.
May
10 times
destruction be
recovery
born.
time.
I'm up!
Is that nice?
It's my turn! Ha! Now!
Inoki!
Let's go! Enlightened Spirit Unification! Let's go! Good luck!
Leave it to me! Time barrier. Break! I'll make this simple. House this! It's my turn. All for one! I'll make this simple.
Of course. It's in your hands.
Leave it to me!
Oh, wrong person.
Roar! Healing strike! It's down!
It's mine. I'm next. You got this. I'd love to help. Yeah! It's my duty. There's no hiding from me. Target assessed. Let's begin. You're just wonderful. Got it.
Push through! Cross strike!
Got you. Yeah. I'm next. Yeah. It's down.
Got it!
Got you. Ready? Done.
It's my turn. How's this? I'll make this simple. Turn to dust, Matic Flame! Come. Terror! Strike!
Yeah, I'll be fine.
Got it!
I'll be
It's my turn.
okay.
Revel in the night.
It's my turn! Roar! Healing strike!
Here I go. You got this.
I'll take care of it.
Yes!
Perfect. It's mine.
I'm up! Roar! Healing strike! It's down!
It opens.
I'm going. Come.
Come. Terror! Now!
Got him! Let's go! Enlightened spirit unification! Let's go!
Revel in the night.
I'm up! Roar! Healing strike! Now!
It opens.
Death awaits you. Come.
Perfect. It's mine.
It's my turn. Terror! Strike!
Got him!
Got you. Ready? Done.
Ooh,
Let's go.
Unlucky.
Push through.
It's my turn! Yeah! Let's go! Roar! Healing strike! Now!
It opens.
Let's go! Roar! Healing strike! Now!
It opens. Come.
Ha!
My turn. Terror! Strike!
Got him!
Come. Oh.
Ha! Of course. Come.
Now. It's mine. I'm next. Yeah. Showtime. Let's go. It's down.
Attack!
Got you. Ready? Done. Now.
Attack!
My turn.
Push the...
Come. How? It's my turn. Terror! Strike!
Got him!
I'll make this simple. Terror! Strike!
Got him! I'm up! Enlightened spirit unification! Let's go! Roar! Healing strike! It's down!
It opens.
Of course. Come.
Perfect. It's mine. Showtime. Ready? Done.
Play.
My turn.
Push through.
My turn. Terror! Strike!
Got him! I'm up! Yeah! I'm up! Roar! Healing strike! It's down!
It opens.
I'm up! Roar! Healing strike!
Death awaits you. Huh? Of course. Yeah!
Perfect. It's mine.
Death awaits you. Come. Now.
It's Jover.
Mine. Showtime. It's down.
Attack!
Let me try something.
My turn. Oh.
It's my turn!
Okay, so damage plus 80%. Let's see.
Fiercest! It's my turn! Ha! Now!
An opening.
Why?
Fuck.
Why did you awaken me? Give me rest. 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 Give
I was hoping
me
to
rest.
do an S-craft with Aurelia before we did this. But I'm still curious how much she will do.
Triumph! Avalon Heart!
Give me breasts.
Come.
Yes, exactly.
Show me you can withstand this. Hit! Ha! You're at count! Ha! Rakshasa! Onslaught!
Holy fuck.
Showtime.
275 without break damage. Non-crit. Lee, you are cracked out of your mind.
Death awaits you! Push through! I'm going! Death awaits you! Come! Perfect! Mine! I'm going! Come! Perfect! Mine!
Let's go! Enlightened spirit, you. Let's go! Roar! Healing strike! Now!
An opening. It's my turn. Fight! Golden Aura! Come. Here!
Showtime.
Show me you can withstand this. Here! You're at Rakshasa! Onslaught!
I'm next.
It's ridiculous.
Push through!
Got you. Yeah. Got you. Let's go. It's down. A 10. I'm next. Let's go. Now. A 10.
It's my turn! Ha! I'm up! Roar! Healing now!
An opening.
It's my turn! Roar! Healing now!
An opening. I'll make this simple. Ha! My turn. Paris! Come.
403. Okay. You most certainly get to that.
Of course! Death awaits you! Come! I'm going! Come!
It's my turn. Here! I'll make this simple.
Let's go! Yeah! It's my turn! Roar! Healing strike! It's down!
An opening.
It's my turn!
Push through!
I'm up! Enlightened spirit unification! Let's go! Yeah!
Got you. Yeah.
Thanks so much.
It's
Of
Jover.
course.
Triumph! Avalon Heart!
I'm going!
Eternally flowing. Form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. First! Second! Third! Fourth! Fifth! Sixth! Seventh! 8 leaves! Breaking dawn!
142.
Show me you can withstand this.
That's like half of Aurelia.
You're at count! Rakshasa! Onslaught!
Let's go.
I am now free from this twisted causality.
Your efforts from the other side of the distant void made this so. Thank you for granting my wish.
Woohoo!
Now I may finally be at rest.
The hentai song. The singer specialty.
Correct. Confirming that the obstruction located beyond the horizon of the other space is no longer present. The Black Mirror has now claimed full administrative command over processes concerning the Reverie corridor. No continued attempts to interfere with causality detected. The Reverie corridor has served its purpose. Time is 1,238 hours, 21 minutes, 45 seconds since forced reactivation. The Black Mirror may now shut down permanently.
No. A dream?
With this, the long chapter between the Empire and Western Zemuria has come to a close. Yet know that as this danger passes, a greater one looms in its stead. I expect never to reactivate, but my hope is that humanity, joined by their bonds, will make a meaningful choice when the time comes.
Seeing Girl 1. See you in 2 years for English Girl 1. Thank you for playing. Trails into Reverie until the very end. See you again in September calendar 1208. This concludes the main story, but you can continue to explore the Reverie corridor. Crow's episode about guilt being alive. What was it? More or less, yeah.
Central core activated.
Yeah, the 3 Kuro episodes.
Confirming
Let me
rank points
Nope,
accumulated.
that's not that. Genesis Orb. What the hell is this?
Confirming rank points accumulated. SSS Liberation rank acquired.
We gaming
Transferring
now.
highest rank
Krypton
reward.
and then Genesis Orb. Wow, that's quite nice. What is Krypton? I would just use this over that in that case. So, like, let's see. If I really want... No, that's not worth it. I wouldn't really use this generally. But, okay. On to the real content.
Millennial Trove activated.
So, let's see. 106 hours. That's not bad.
unsealing pedestal activated.
Beyond the Reverie.
This should be of good use to us.
Not anymore. I just need... Okay.
Rendering browsing interface.
Alright, hold on. Before I continue, I need to take a leak real quick. Alright. These are but minute fragments of memories drifting in an endless ocean. Memories of what will be in the near future. Could they be shadows of the tangled threads woven by Elysium? Or perhaps faded illusions that have slipped through the cracks of time and space? There are none who know the answer. Yeah, it's story time. Okay. Let's start here. I'll read it. I'll read them. January year 1208 of the Septian calendar. Between two great mountains at the tip of a Calvardian basin sits Lunglai. The town is known for two things, being the eastern entrance to the Republic and its exceptional hot springs. Through these enticing factors does not continue to welcome tourists hailing from both home and abroad. Yet today, it served guests quite unlike its many unseasoned visitors. These had come from another renowned hot springs paradise situated in the northern reaches of Erebonia. The depth of flavor in here is just exquisite. Agreed. The Phoenix Wings food is certainly nothing to sneeze at, but I have my doubts the chef could replicate dishes this unique in taste. The Bishan Inn's reputation continues to precede itself. Baron Tio and Lady Lucia Schwarzer were sampling the inn's culinary delights, spirits high and stomachs filling fast. Her daughter Elise sat next to them, her spirits a bit lower by comparison as her brows furrowed with concern. I'm sure its luxuries come with just an equally luxurious price tag, and there's 4 of us, so even 2 nights must have cost a small fortune. Upon realizing what she said, she shook her head. I didn't mean to dampen the mood. I know we have the money, but all my budgeting as student council president has made a terrible habit of me seeing the numbers in everything. Her older brother Reen couldn't help but let out a chuckle. And the budget buster in you will like how much we saved, because we're not here as paying customers, we were invited by the owners personally. They said they wanted to get to know us since we run similar establishments, so here we are, and we'll be inviting them to Ymir sooner than later, of course. Right, Dad? Oh, absolutely. Add this to the list of boons coming from our countries finally coming to terms with one another. The Republic is reveling in the higher levels of prosperity, and the relations between our people are more active and festive than ever. I, for one, welcome any opportunity to further foster friendship. The Baron took another healthy sip of his baijiu before continuing. Friendship over fighting, I say. Such a shame that the world tends to overcomplicate that simple concept. Seeing her husband's glass was almost empty, Lucia filled it to the brim while adding her own thoughts. That's all the more reason why we need to make the most of this invitation and enjoy ourselves to the fullest. The children nodded in agreement. And even that aside, there's no reason to spoil a family vacation when we so rarely have time to take them. Oh, I read about some unusual sweet dishes worth trying. Would you like to share some with me, Rain? In a bit, I'm thinking of taking another soak in the hot springs, so I might be in the mood for something sweet after. The food here is delicious, but as far as I'm concerned, the hot springs are the real star of the show. Aha, that's my boy right there. The ruling lord of the hot springs paradise would never let a good discussion about them pass him by. He was as fond of their quality and soothing effects as Rin, enthusiasm undeniably apparent from the warmth of his tone to the width of his smile. Their medicinal springs happen to be my favorite of mine, but I can't help but be fascinated by them time and time again. I can believe it. I've always known about them, but here's the first place I've been able to feel the way they warm you right to your core. Think we could make one available at the Phoenix Wings? It'd be worth a try, but that comes with its own obstacles. For as many problems as Tio expressed in practical terms, Reed hailed just as many proposed solutions. The conversation grew more involved by the minute, leaving the ladies of the house to pleasantly bask in their glow and continue enjoying the meal before them. All four felt the same, that had been too long since they could enjoy each other's company, but the wait had been well worth it. That night, after indulging in his post-dinner soak in the springs and telling his family he was going for a walk, Reen departed the inn. Alright, let's do this. He took in a deep breath, the crisp night air of long life filling his lungs. The hot springs were an excellent bonus to his trip, to be sure, but it was not the real reason he agreed to visit. He had come in search of InKensify, the famed stormed hermit. Master Kafai was the founder of the 8 Leaves One Blade School, of which Irene was a practitioner. And though now over 70 years old, he was still regarded as one of the strongest combatants on the continent. Though they had not met since before Reen's enrollment at Thor's. Many a letter was exchanged during the 4 years that followed, but even they had stopped after Reen earned the right to call himself a divine blade over a year ago. There was so very much he wished to discuss with his master, what he had learned in his 4 years of training, what had transpired since becoming a divine blade, the true meaning behind being the final blade to master the 8 leaves. There's plenty I'd like to ask that have nothing to do with swordsmanship too. All these questions, all whether to answer without first knowing the whereabouts of a single individual. Even a senior practitioner like Cassius Bright claimed ignorance, having received not a single update from their old master. He had always been an elusive but traceable sort, but wherever he was now, he was next to impossible to track. That was until word of a blade master being sighted in a long lie reached Reen's ears. The man held a fondness for the town's specialties, those being the hot springs and its fragrant tea leaves, making the sighting worthy of particular note. He also knew from the letters before they had stopped that he intended to journey eastward, making a long lie one of the more plausible stopping points. The word came to him just as the swords were invited to stay at the inn during their New Year vacation. Reen's instincts told him the timing was a little too fortunate, but with how vague the lead was, even in most likely result in him leaving the same as he had arrived. While he had not discussed the rumor being key to his traveling here, his family seemed to sense it was more than a simple pleasure trip for him. I know Dad would have had a great time catching up with him, but I don't want to get his hopes up for nothing. These thoughts in mind, Reen made his way through the night streets. Longlife's architecture was distinctly Eastern, making it a uniquely intriguing sight among most of Calvard's towns and cities. This is not to say it was similar across Belsey Street. With subtle colors paired with dignified beauty, every wall and stone exuded the traditional concepts of wabi-sabi. One look was enough to understand the region was rich with history. This quiet charm would give way to contrastingly lively evenings, where tourists both westward and farther eastward were greeted to stalls dedicated to the hot springs and more. This too held a traditional sort of charm. Rin asked several merchants if they had any information pertaining to the whereabouts of his master, somewhat sheepishly purchasing a number of souvenirs from their stalls to keep himself from being a nuisance. They, he justified, would make excellent gifts for his friends, his co-workers, and his students. I can't believe it's almost time for them to graduate. I might be emotional about theirs than I was for mine. For the first time, Rin would get to experience what it was like for the young birds he had taken under his wing for 2 years to finally leave the nest. Their first year had been eventful, to say the least. What had started as a problem class full of disagreement and mounting tension had slowly grown into the one of compassion and understanding for one another. It was with each new discovery about themselves and every new ordeal the world sought to impose upon them that they grew not only as individuals but as a team. He had hoped this period would remain as much as a meaningful part of their lives as it would always be for him. The months before the Retributive Tower's appearance held many a trial, making them 10 months that followed and its shadow passed all too quickly. In that time, Rin students continued to mature, building on everything they accomplished in their first year to prepare for and settle into their desired future. Indeed, whether it was by overcoming their demons or by learning to work with them in a healthier fashion, their paths up till now had been well-worn, and while they may have had to rest from time to time, he was proud to be a part of why their steps continued to face forward. Proud, but also lonely at the thought of saying goodbye. As their second year grew to a close, lacking in grandiose events, but still rewarding in its own right, it was this mixture of emotions that bore conflict with him the most. Can't believe I'll be going through it all over again next year, and even the year after that. Hell of a career I chose to pursue, huh? He didn't know when he stopped walking. Realizing this, he resumed the search, paying respect and mind to the many generations of educators who came before him. No matter where he looked, he could not find Master Kafai in Longlai. It was, however, still too early to say whether the trip had been in vain, as he had at least caught an unverified report of the Blade Master being seen in the mountains to the south. Wandering such terrain at night wasn't going to be ideal, but Rin was already firm on spending the next day with his family. Tonight it would have to be. Making a brief stop to the inn to tuck his souvenir somewhere secure, he then departed for his new destination. The mountain's winding, half-beaten trails would be more treacherous at night, but they weren't not off limits as such. The key, Rin knew, would be to not rely on sight alone. His sense of hearing and smell, perhaps even touch, were going to be equally vital in the hours ahead. Calling upon his experience and intellect to heighten all 5 senses, he took in his surroundings in full. This really takes me back to training in the mountains. To call the experience training would imply his time being one of the simple tutelage between student and master, but it equated to so much more. The danger then was far worse than it was now, with some days requiring him to set foot in highly dangerous territories just to find the day's food to survive. It sounds like the Kunlun Mountains may have been used for a similar exercise a long time ago. Rin was certain to think on the information gained during his search as he continued along the trail. Searching for evidence of human activity in an environment like this was not a difficult task. Humans always leave something indicative of their presence behind that no wild creature could, be it in a long dead fire, footprints, or traces of going on the hunt. One need only follow the light to lead to their source. Rin did so, advancing with a caution instilled in him by both his old master and hunting enthusiast of a father. They soon led him precisely to clear evidence that a human had been in the area, though the evidence itself was far from what he expected. Remains of a camp? No, this is. Didn't look like it had been left by martial artists in training or roaming hunters, but the most peculiar thing was that there were multiple sites like the first, all evenly spaced from one to the next. It was as though something was being measured. Maybe this is from a group of scholars doing field research, but it seems too large in scale for that. There was nothing more to be found here. Reen advanced. Soon after, he found another unusual mound of evidence. It sounds like someone forced their way through here in a car, or more like hacked open a path wide enough for a car to pass through. All further inspection here suggested that whoever was responsible had given up on this endeavor, leading him to wonder if they somehow found success elsewhere. And if they did, why had they done this at all? The question pestered him. If there was anywhere to clear wide pass, the remote depths of the mountain certainly were not it. But instinct told him he was only a step away from discovering the answer. If I keep following this trail a little farther... At this thought, Reen sensed someone approaching. One person, two people. Yes, there were two, and it was clear they were aware of his presence as well. Only for a fleeting second did he think they might be the ones responsible for the strange trails, but a deadly tension that now thickened the air told him these were no simple scholars. He felt them draw near, the night veiling themselves well, and then he felt them stop. How about you show yourselves? He spoke without placing his hand on his tachi, signifying to those watching that he had no desire to fight. Their silhouettes then silently emerged from the darkest shadows of the mountains. They looked very much like the shinobi of the east he had heard about, their forms clad from top to bottom in black garments and their faces fully obscured. I see your insight poses a threat after all, divine blade of the Empire. The contract with our client has yet to begin, but we will make an exception for one among their list of dangerous persons. The silhouettes then charged. They caught him completely off guard, drawing short, straight blades to attack him as they narrowed in. Reen's eyes widened in surprise, but nearly in the same moment he was in a fighting stance, hand over still sheathed tachi. Fifth form, Morning Moon. He perceived in the direction of his foe's attacks to evade them, then mounted a counterattack of his own. All it took was that instant to repel their assault and leave them vulnerable. Ordinarily, this would be the time to take the offensive, but all Reen could do was stare at the two with disbelief. The thought entered my mind as I saw you move, but now that we've crossed blades... He paused, the disbelief in his eyes giving way to a more intent gaze. Are you... practitioners of the Eight-Leaf School? Another pause, this time from the silhouettes before answering as though they were well aware the question was coming. No, though we do possess ties to the school. We are of the Ikaruga, practitioners of the Black God One Blade School. The what? Reen was left stunned. The two Ikaruga held their blades horizontally, ready to thrust them forward at any moment. It was as though they wanted to make clear that while they had been caught off guard once, he would not be so fortunate twice. Reen responded by assuming the middle stance with his tachi, but just as the sides were only a beat away from engaging in battle, what could only be described as a black cyclone roaring from the darkness at such speed that it seemed certain to slice anything it touched. Its appearance caught Reen by surprise more than the initial attacks by the silhouettes. He had not suspected an attack from that angle, that distance, or even that moment. His enemies, on the other hand, did not so much as flinch at the sight. The approaching blade over an arch and half in length was heading directly for Reen's back. He couldn't possibly dodge it now. Perhaps he should have noticed. Perhaps it was impossible to notice. Whatever the answer, the divine blade of the Empire would soon fall. The silhouettes waited in for his final moments to be, convinced of no other fate in his future. When Reen spun his body in a full circle, applying the intensity built into his tachi from the motion to swing, the blow made was weighted yet precise, shifting the incoming blade in a new direction without mitigating its near overpowering force. This technique was an application of the first form, Helix. There was no greater course in the moment than to use it to redirect the attack without ever making direct contact. The spinning blade was now significantly off its intended course, but Reen slashed at it again, birthing a shockwave that further shifted its path. The blade went flying hairs to the right of the direction that it came from. A hand was there to deftly catch it midair. You may have only recently taken the title, but you are worthy of being called a divine blade all the same. you used the unclouded eye well. From this hand emerged a new figure from the darkness. While he was clad in similar garments to the silhouettes, something about his presence was much more inspired by comparison. His musculature was thoroughly discernible beneath his body covering fortified suit. His every movement, however slight, reflected a complete lack of hesitation, and the faint light of his eyes, visible through his mask, projected no emotion whatsoever. The man possessed the aura of a true warrior, one projected only by those who have fought more battles than was possible to count. Fall back. He's too formidable a foe for you to handle. The silhouette slid into the darkness in an instant. Only the new arrival was left to face Reen. I need to know, who are you and why did you attack me? Our contract forbids the disclosure of such information. You'll leave this place now, fledgling Divine Blade. The tone was not one of advice nor of an order. It was as if the man was stating a fact, his calmness veiling an undertone of malice that told Reen what would happen if he did not do as was told. I'm afraid I can't do that without an explanation, not when I haven't found what I'm looking for yet. I understand. Then? There was no longer anything to discuss. All they could do was battle. I, Kurogane of the Little Getsu School, shall be your opponent. Kurogane stood at attention, the large blade he had thrown before now pointed. I'd have rather settled this with words, but I can see that's not an option. Reen sighed, taking his own stance in turn. Then, Reen Schwarzer, master of the 8th These One Blade School's 7th form, shall be yours. The Divine Blade moved instantly. The bizarre weapon Kurogane wielded was less akin to a sword and more 4 equally sized blades arranged in the shape of a cross, their bases connected to a single point. That he could direct his large weighted shuriken as though it were simple child's toy spoke volumes about how strong he was. Still, even if it was not infallible, for it was not one to be ideally used in close range combat, Kurogane appeared to have no other key weapons on hand either, meaning that if Reen could force him to fight where he would be at his most disadvantageous, he would very likely come out of this as the victor. This is why he had in mind when choosing to act first. Second form, Gale. He closed the gap between them, drew his blade, and made a wide swing toward his opponent in the blink of an eye. Kurogane blocked this with ease. That, however, meant nothing in the larger scheme of things. Reen knew well this man's capabilities. So long as the gap between them was closed, and it was, he considered the attack a success. But just as he thought he would be able to push onward and overpower his foe by mounting a newly fierce assault, Kurogane had split his cross-shaped shuriken in half. The ease at which he did made it clear this was intended by design. He can dual-wield double sabers? There was no hiding his shock. In the West, double sabers were seen as relics from the Dark Ages that were difficult to utilize. Crow was the only person Reen knew who was competent with one, and only one. The skill it would take to use two was almost too difficult to fathom. His surprise created an opening that Kurogane was not going to let pass unexploited. Possessing twin two-ended blades allowed the shinobi to perform considerably more strikes than Reen, giving him no chance to push back. Steel sparked as their weapons clashed. Kurogane was dominant for some time, but he could do nothing to bolster his advantage. With strike and spark after strike and spark, the advantage was moving back to Reen. This is in part due to him being used to fighting this weapon that defied rationale, but it was also because he had been given time to find what he was looking for, the perfect range in which to attack. Double sabers were forms with a shorter reach than they appeared to have, something inevitable due to their handle being in the middle. It could have been because he also used them as shuriken, but the length of Kurogane's sabers were even shorter than Crow's, meaning Reen would have to adjust with the longer length of his blade. He measured patiently, staying only just out of Kurogane's reach and evading the onslaught by a hair's breadth each time prior to countering. It was calculated quickly thanks to Kurogane's frequent rapid attacks, meaning all Reen had to do now was wait for the right moment. This moment would come in the form of his opponent showing impatience for a stalled battle, driving him to take an unneeded step forward. Reen evaded the strike expertly. instantly returning it with an upward diagonal slash. The forceful swing of his Tachi made contact with the handle of Kurogane's own swung weapon, knocking it clean out of his hand. Rin dashed forward to make use of his veiled opportunity, but after only a flicker of bewilderment, Kurogane moved to deny him. He blocked Rin's attack with a double saber still in his possession, then hurled a hitting kunai with his free hand, jumping backward a significant distance while doing so. Very good, Divine Blade of the Eight Leaves. You may pale to the skills of our princess, but you without a doubt deserve your reputation. Princess? Rin's notation went unanswered as Kurogane took a notably different stance than before. I shall demonstrate my respect for you with my finest technique. This put Rin staunchly in guard. Senses heightened, he focused every nerve in his body, fixing his eyes on whatever was to come of Kurogane, who was now gone. Nothing remained where Rin's opponent had just stood. He hadn't taken his eyes off him, never eased himself for a moment, yet Kurogane was nowhere to be seen. How? Had he moved that quickly? Was it some kind of spatial translocation? There are no signs to indicate either one. Was it that he never moved at all and was still there, sight unseen? No, that wasn't it either. The double saber Rin had repelled on the ground was also gone. I can still sense him, so he hasn't gone far. Rin suppressed the panic welling up within, honing his senses a second time. That was when another black cyclone swirled toward him from the shadows. He half expected something of this nature, so with a little deviation he was able to deflect it as he did the first time. The attack indicated that Kurogane had reassembled his shuriken after recovering its lost half so he could throw it again. It also indicated, together with the slight changes in the surroundings, where he was now positioned. Rin needed a little more time to know where he was for certain, but ahead of making a solid conclusion, the cyclone came at him yet again from a new angle. That was fast. Though he blocked this attack as well as the last, before he could fully correct his posture, the next cyclone approached. The gap between was getting shorter and shorter. There was another, the time was shorter, and another shorter. Soon these assorted smaller cyclones were seemingly growing into a blended grand storm of death, when the Rin trapped at its center. This doesn't feel like I'm being attacked by a single person. Did he make phantom copies of himself? He had no idea from where the next cyclone would form, and by the time he located it, the next one was ready. Even the unclouded eye wasn't going to be enough for him to deduce Kurogane's location. He had been able to repel every blade that met with him so far, but that was growing increasingly difficult. I didn't want to use it, but I'm not sure I have a choice. Well aware that doing so would place him in danger, Rin took his mind off the battle. He gave up blocking invading attacks, dedicating the bare minimum of his focus to not sustaining lethal blows and focusing his mind inward. He focused on the power that he had long cultivated inside of him, the power he had feared, loathed, and rejected, the power he now relied on, desired, and nearly surrendered himself to, the power he faced with his loved ones at his side, making it a true part of himself. With his mind clear as day, he unleashed his full strength. Enlightened spirit unification. He imbued his Tachi with a great power surging out of him, crying out as he did so, and spinning his body forcibly around to create a bladed circle around him. The energy released by Sachi repelled all forthcoming shuriken with ease, and with them, Kurogane's phantom copies lurking in the darkness faded to nothing. With that, there you are. He charged toward Kurogane. The man was thoroughly overwhelmed by Rin's sudden counterattack, throwing him completely off balance. There was nothing he could do to repel what would come next. It's time to settle this. Rin swung his Tachi downward while pouring all of his might into a final single strike, but just as the two felt the battle was coming to an end, Zeroth form, duality. Accompanied with a voice as beautiful as a bell was a slash tearing through the sky. Its color slow black, it threatened to eclipse the moon. It effortlessly stopped Rin's weapon from reaching its target, but that wasn't all. What? With a high-pitched metallic sound, Rin's beloved Tachi was sundered cleanly in two. Princess? Kurogane was also taken aback by this new arrival. I heard what was happening from both our scouts. You could have invited me to join the fun instead of keeping it all to yourself. The words as she chided Kurogane indicated dissatisfaction, but the music of her tone betrayed her excitement. Rin made to see who this mysterious figure was. And the sight of her alone took his breath away. She was young, wearing a fortified suit that looked to be a marriage of classical and modern Eastern styles, with long silver hair that almost appeared to glow in the pale moonlight. Her age was closely to Rin's, perhaps a little younger, with well-defined features that still held traces of adolescence, pairing strikingly in contrast to the empty void behind her eyes. There was the air of a young noble woman who had been sheltered from impurities all her life, and the stench of a baleful warrior who had bathed in the blood of countless lives. How she was both and neither at once Rin could not understand, but it was this very quality that made her all the more captivating and dangerous. In the woman's left hand was a large black engraved tachi that threatened to freeze him for daring a glance at it. No doubt it was what halved Rin's tachi moments ago. What did? Rin fumbled for the words as they clutched the useless handle tightly in his hand. The fair-haired woman only smiled as she looked down upon it. Your weapon was very fine, but it was never any match for my friend, I'm afraid. He spun the black blade around gently before holding it up toward the night sky to seemingly display it with pride. It was hard to see why she would boast about possessing such a weapon. He had seen many a blade of historical significance, but instinct told him that hers was better than any of those. The blunt side featured an intricate design of deep gray that, while he could not discern its meaning there and then, he knew was nothing less than a work of art. There was an aura about it, one cool as ice, that seemed to reject its worldly surroundings, making it capable of cutting through anything it so desired. It came in company with a beautiful hilt of deep red that contrasted its body without feeling out of place. This juxtaposition was, in a sense, much a reflection of its wielder, with their two opposing natures being distinctive yet also as one. Rin thought as he observed, her blade was clearly something special, but that alone did not explain the strength behind her attack. He had never heard of the technique she used, but it was certainly connected to the eight leaves, in some way, and the skill she showed in executing it made her equal to the divine blade. He was so fixated as these thoughts rushed through his mind that he was only brought out by her sudden laughter. I didn't think I'd ever meet you here. I wonder if our old master is behind guiding us to the same place. Or if it's just a happy coincidence. Wait, the manner in which she spoke and her familiarity with the Rin gave him a theory. That technique you just used was really something. Consider me intrigued. It puts you a league above, more interesting than our senior practitioners. So he was right. Are you? Before he could hear what he already knew, she turned away, refusing to let him finish the question. He isn't here, so why don't you run on back to your family? Go and make the most of your vacation. Just don't let your skill with the blade slip. The world will need it again one day. She spoke with a certain satisfaction as he pointed to the other half of his broken blade, and then she leaped high, seemingly disappearing on the other side of the moon. Rin could only stare dumbfounded as she vanished. He couldn't even speak. Kurogane left with her. The Ikuruga, the Black God One Blade School, and our senior practitioners. Rin had been unable to fulfill his objective, and not just that, he was left with countless new questions about the people he encountered and the mountain itself. He felt there was meaning behind the being guided to the specific place, but how important it was or what it entailed he did not know. And yet, the person responsible for discerning that won't be me. Looking down at his broken tachi, he was struck anew with how massive the world truly was. And he realized that, now that his master was confirmed to be elsewhere, the purpose of his visit to Longline was nothing more than to enjoy a wonderful, ordinary vacation with his family. This meeting here was but a peculiar coincidence, for now at least. When I get back, I'll need to reforge my tachi and myself. Something stirred in this region all across Calvard, but there was nothing he could do about that as he was. All he could focus on was training and bettering himself so he could one day play a part against the next threat that loomed over the distant horizon. New resolve welling in his soul, he made his way through the now still mountain trail back to where his loving family awaited. Another hot springs paradise. The end. Nice. Okay, next one. An unconventional student. Green will show up eventually. I just don't know when. I bet you he's gonna show up in the next game. April year 1208 of the Septine calendar. Aramis Academy is a famous educational institution in the Calvardian capital of Edith. The name derives from an artist central to Calvard's democratic revolution 100 years ago. This is also reflected in its goal of nurturing new talent and helping to forge a brighter future for a new republic. The Academy placed great value on traditional education, of course, but it also encouraged their perspective of new cultures and values, attracting many in an independent mind from across Zamuria. It was a storied place of learning that reflected the Republic's views as a whole. This story, for its part, begins not long after the Springtime Renewal Festival held yearly to welcome the new student body. It was just another morning at the Academy, countless students shuffling through its grounds, when one of them in particular happened to draw an unusual amount of attention. The young lady had long, soft violet hair crowned with a black ribbon. Her figure had been cut very respectably as she matured into a young woman of 17 years, and yet her face still held traces of girlhood days bygone. The beauty she was, she never failed to turn inquisitive heads as she strolled along. Her name was Ren Bright. She was a second-year student from the Janus Royal Academy in Arboral, now studying at Armis as part of an exchange program. She had only just arrived in the spring. Ren's goal in attending was not further her education. She had been considered highly gifted since she was a child, having already earned several doctorates in years past, and there was little more a new academy could reasonably teach her. Her goal, in reality, was to use it as a front to operate freely in Calvard. It was hard to find one better than being a student. She had already found the rule relatively foolproof during her time at Janus. Even if there were limits to how much a student can get away with, society as a whole was soft on school children. To move freely would also require drawing as little attention as possible. She aimed to conduct herself modestly, as any elegant young lady who wished to remain unseen should during her time at Armis. There was just one very big problem with this plan. "Good morning, Miss Bright. Isn't she just gorgeous? Look, I see her. She's so beautiful, and everyone says she's just as smart too." All she had to do was walk down the hall to be showered with greetings and whispers of envy and admiration. Her looks alone were already enough to make her the talk of the school, but after one of the teachers let slip that she received a perfect score on an entrance exam, there was suddenly not a single person who didn't know her name. The other students cared not how much she wanted to avoid drawing attention. She was getting it whether she liked it or not. Naturally, not everyone was pleased with the booming popularity this new transfer student had attained in less than a month. While most were busy fawning over Ren's arrival that morning, another group watched the charade unfold from the shadows, echoing audible tuts of displeasure. Ren had yet to be enrolled in any clubs, so as soon as the day's lessons had come to an end, she packed her belongings and stood to leave. "A word, if I may, Miss Bright." It was a fellow classmate, surrounded by a small faction of students clearly loyal to their king bee. Certainly. Though instinct told her this was not going to be a conversation she wanted to have, she made an effort to pretend otherwise. She would not be provoked into behaving as anything but a mature, modest young lady. "I've been wanting to get to know you better for some time now, you see, so I was wondering if you might join me for dinner this evening." The boy, Ronald Griffith, presented a gentlemanly smile. Ren was very much used to being asked out like this, and never once did she accept it. She always made up some excuse to turn them down. Today would be no different. "I'm ever so sorry, but I'm afraid I have something urgent to take care of after school today. Some other time, perhaps." This was usually enough to get them to give up, but Ronald was a persistent one. "Well, that won't do. I have something very important to discuss with you, and I've already booked us a table at a very fine restaurant so we can discuss in detail. Is there really no way your business can wait?" There was something ominous about his smile. Ren couldn't help but be curious what he was thinking. I'm afraid it can't. I'm so sorry after you've gone out of your way to prepare ahead of time. Still, I could spare a little time now, so I'd be happy to talk here if that's alright. So, not tonight then. No pity. Ronald's tone read one less of genuine sadness and more irritation that things were not going according to plan. Well aware that he let slip his true feelings on the matter, he quickly composed himself and smiled. Now is better than ever, I suppose. This does concern everyone in the room, so perhaps it's all for the better said here. To this, Ren glanced around the room, noting that only she, Ronald, and his lackeys were all who remained. Most were likely on their way home or in their respective clubs, while some would have ordinarily been in the classroom at this hour. She was certain no one wanted anything to do with Ronald and his group. He took a step forward toward her, then began to speak. I'm well aware, Miss Bright, that you've come all the way from distant world to be here. It's not unusual for students to transfer from far for family reasons, but I hear in your case you came to Calvary just to learn in these hallowed halls. I cannot help but deeply admire your spirit and thirst for knowledge. Pure theatrics, this one. At the same time, I worry about you. Brilliant you may be, but living alone in a far-off land must be a terribly lonely and challenging affair. We all need someone to depend on in our lives, and that would be especially so in your situation. So if you don't mind me saying so, Miss Boy, I believe you're in need of someone to look after you, to protect you. At last he shut up, giving Ren a chance to respond. She scrutinized him closely. In short, you'd like for me to join your circle of friends, correct? Ronald's smartly smile broadened. His father was a senator in the Republic's parliament, meaning he held a significant amount of political power. His son used this to his full advantage ever since joining the academy. Ronald had used his father's name to form a faction of sorts among the students, forcibly building his reputation until he was a leading candidate, the student council president in the election staged in half a month's time. His goal, Ren assumed, was to bring the hottest talk of the academy into his faction to further secure his chance of victory. I think you'll find that joining us would help you feel much more secure and at home here. And perhaps you don't yet appreciate just how much of a difference having someone like me backing you would make on the life of an exchange student. True, she mused inwardly. Being in a group of high social standing would make it easier for her to gather information. If she could leverage his father's connection to build more of her own, that would pay itself in dividends in the days to come. The pompous boy had no way of knowing the actual circumstances that brought her to Artemis, but his proposal was in fact very beneficial to her. She returned a smile with a modest one of her as she answered. You're kind to think so much of me, but I'm afraid I'll have to decline. Clear, unambiguous rejection. Ronald's lips were still curled into a big smile, but he could not hide the twitch of his brow, nor could his lackeys hide their shock. They had, by all accounts, expected her to answer the opposite. Are you sure you won't reconsider, Miss Bright? Surely someone as brilliant as yourself can see why accepting my offer would be in your best interest. I fear if you don't know, you may well come to regret it. The last words were a hair slower and deliberate to intimidate her. Ren, of course, was never going to fall for it. I'll admit, it is a tempting proposal, tempting enough to inspire one to consider helping someone to win the student council election. If only that someone weren't you. What did you just say? The sudden taunt caught him completely off guard, resulting in a flare of irritation escaping him. Ren, for her part, was unruffled by the change. I imagine you don't need me to explain why, but I will to be sure. I've been very aware that the threatening glares I always attract on the way to school every morning have been coming from all of you. They've been a constant in my life ever since just before the festival. All were flabbergasted by the statement, their silence confirming what she said to be true. She continued. Now, you have every right to regard me with caution. I'm well aware of how much I stand out despite my best efforts. Taking potential threats under your own wing is a strategically sound move too. However, that your target was so easily able to see through your screams shows everyone here just how inept you really are. I have better things to do than assist someone so incompetent and small-minded. With a shrug and sigh in somewhat dramatic fashion, Ren stood before Ronald, his shoulders trembling from rage. Good day to you all. Ren gave a courteous nod of acknowledgement before leaving the room, paying no mind to the wide eyes and open slack jaw she left behind. So Agate ended up getting pretty beat up from another one of Mom's crazy jobs she threw at him. We did get some good data out of it, but ouch. Your mom is always so funny. That night in the dormitory, Ren and Tita were engrossed in deep conversation through their laptops. But it's always same old with all of you. I'm surprised there's anything of Agate left with how often you tell me she has him nearly facing death. You two are in a rut. I know something that could spice things up. Maybe try adding a little romance to the mix like a couple of bright-eyed lovebirds we know. But we have agreed to go somewhere next week, so we're not in a complete rut. Well, isn't that something? The stairs to adulthood await you, my dear friend. Ren! Tita graduated from the branch campus in Erebony just as Ren left for Calvert, leaving them no time to spend with one another in person. That wasn't ideal, of course, but from a hint of sadness came the habit of talking like this once a week so they could stay in each other's lives. They discussed anything from the new lives and environments to the fruits of their research, occasionally stumbling into a serious topical matter or two along the way. It sounds like legal confrontation between the Verne Company and Epstein Foundation is inevitable at this point. I know, I can't believe this is really happening. Both frowned at their screens. A recent development concerning the Calverdian industry giant Verne Company had become a key source of concern for them of late. It began soon after Crossbell returned to normalcy after the Supreme Leaders take over the previous year. Professor Erica Russell approached the Verne Company to propose that they join the West Zamorian Tech Union that she had been hard at work forming. And to no one's surprise, they refused. But before Erica and the rest of the engineers involved could even finish getting ready to go and change Verne's mind, something happened to make the union the least of anyone's priorities. The independent development of a new generation of Orbmans and their generations-long partner in this subset of technology, the Epstein Foundation would not be a collaborator. The latter had been a key supporter of Zamoria's Orbment development and orbital technology in general since their very inception. Battle Orbments were no exception to this. The Foundation had known their way around them since the very first model, drafting the incredible concept that had been used as a base ever since. Even the Reinford Company before the Battle of Jormungand had not thought to develop the Arcus models of their own, instead favoring to develop them in partnership with a storied institute. The announcement was, quite simply, unprecedented and sent shockwaves throughout the industry. The Epstein Foundation was also less than pleased about being cast aside in this manner. While there were certainly legal concerns regarding who owned the patents in this technology, the greater concern was that their stable position in the industry as a whole was now becoming unstable. They initially responded by attempting to resolve this through peaceful means, but when those attempts proved fruitless, it was reported that they were preparing for what could only be an ugly international legal dispute. I'd say Verne has the upper hand if this ever makes it to court. Unlike their previous rammed Orbments, the 6th generation is designed to set a whole new standard. All of its main features are packed with new tech, with some new features still being kept under wraps. I wonder what those are. What could they be trying to develop that's important enough to ruin their relationship with the Foundation? Though, I have heard about the government telling the Verne Company to focus more on weapons development. I have too. It sounds like they're planning to significantly revamp the military's weaponry. The official story is that they're planning on slimming the military down, but if they're pairing that with the latest in weapons development, then they're still just as powerful, maybe more so. As part of the war ceasefire agreement, Erebonia was required to downsize their military, bringing it more in line with that of Calvert's. Yet, if the Republic were to expand the capabilities of its military, this recently forced equilibrium and superpowers would be quickly broken. Whatever may be true, I've got a lot of questions I need answers to. Maybe it would be worth visiting the Verne Company's headquarters in Basel at some point. We haven't learned anything more about where Professor Hamilton is at the moment, right? Nothing new or concrete, at least. It sounds like she's continuing her research eastward, but I haven't heard anything more specific than that. Mom and Grandpa haven't had any luck in contacting her either. I'm not surprised since that area isn't very well connected, but it's still unfortunate. She's a lot more personable than Professor Schmidt, so having her on our side would help a lot. Tita could only laugh. Yeah, there's a lot of worrying stories going around now about PMCs and stuff like that. It makes me wonder if none of this would even be happening if you're still acting as a supervisor for the Verne Company. The deeper into the conversation they went, the more Tita could feel her spirits sinking. The political climate in the western Zemuria was unusually stable at the moment, with its nations basking in its prosperity. But she could not shake off the feeling that this peace was built over rotting wood, that it could all come crashing down the simplest provocation. This was becoming especially true in the tech world, as it had undergone rapid growth in recent years compared to other fields. So rapid, in fact, that no base could possibly sustain its sudden weight without cracks beginning to form. Try not to dwell too much on the worst case scenario, Tita. This piece might rest on a knife's edge, but there's still plenty we can do to preserve it. That's why I'm here right now, and that's why you're working so hard too. We could find a million problems in the world if we wanted, but pessimism isn't going to make them go away, right? The words filled Tita with the right amount of comfort she needed in that precise moment. Yeah, I guess you're right. Thanks, Ren. They continued on, losing track of time as they talked into the night. Before they knew it, the clock had struck 12. Well, it's getting really late. I should probably be going. I'll talk to you soon, okay? Alright, good night, Tita. Night. Oh! Tita suddenly remembered something. The exclamation stopped Ren just as she was about to end the call. Estelle and Joshua told me to ask you if you're doing okay in school. Those two always worry too much. You'd think I wasn't talking to them too. She couldn't help but remember her interaction with Ronald after class, but Ren quickly drove thought from her mind. It wasn't worth dredging up. Tell them they can rest easy. Everything is fine. Good. They wanted me to let them know if you were being bullied so they could fly over and help. Ren could only sigh. Honestly, do they think I can't keep myself safe from a few school-haired bullies? Actually, they said they were more worried about what you do to them than what they do to you. Vax. At her friend's silence, Tita couldn't help but burst out laughing. I worry about you too, obviously, but they're probably right. How awful of you. Even if that were to happen to me, I wouldn't do half of what you're imagining. Not anymore, anyway. See, it's saying that kind of thing that makes people worry. I'm a lady now. I need the magnanimity to forgive the transgressions of others. I'm also trying to do what I can to avoid standing out too much at school. You can try, but I think that's always been a lost cause. Anyway, now I'm really going to go before I remember anything else. Say hi to Zen for me if you run into him. I'm planning to go and see him when everything calms down, so we'll do. I've been meaning to go and see someone else I've been in debt to in the past too. By the time the two of them had finished talking and ended the call, one had given way to the next. The morning dawned yet another day of school. However, just as she left the classroom in the main building at the start of lunch and went to descend the staircase, she felt someone suddenly draw near from behind her. Reflexively, she dodged out of the way. A female student then entered her field of vision. She had lost her balance, her expression a mix of fear and surprise. She passed through the spot Ren had been moments before, but her momentum showed no signs of fading. If someone didn't stop her, she was going to start tumbling down the stairs. Ren was quick to grab her and pull her close. She supported the girl's weight with one arm and with all the grace of someone taking part in a ballroom dance, saving her from falling. Several students happened to witness the event unfold and could not help but elicit a gasp of admiration. Noticing that the girl's eyes were still unfocused, Ren gently addressed her. Are you alright? You aren't hurt, are you? Finally realizing the situation she was in, the girl whose face had become quite red quickly straightened her posture in a fluster. Yes, I'm okay. You're Ren Bright from the next class over, aren't you? Thank you so much for helping me. You're very welcome. But I would have to caution you from losing your composure like that right next to a staircase. Do you have some really urgent business to take care of? The girl first friend in response then paused to think, then answered. Nothing I can think of. It's weird, but even though it was probably my imagination, it felt like someone had pushed me from behind. Obviously, no one here would do that, so I must have just bumped into someone by accident. She thanked her rescuer again before disappearing into the distance. The situation she had deemed her imagination, however, lingered in Ren's mind. If I hadn't sensed something was amiss, both of us would have fallen down the stairs. We could have been badly hurt. Was it really just a coincidence, or was it a deliberate action by someone who wants to hurt me? If it was the latter, she didn't have anything to support this theory, but it came with a familiar sensation, the feeling of malicious stares focusing on her from the shadows. It took surprisingly little time for her suspicions to gain evidence. After finishing gym class the next day, Ren made for the classroom and began preparing for her next lesson. As she did, she immediately noticed something was amiss. All of her textbooks had been glued shut with an excessive amount of adhesive. Try as she did to open them, it was a lost cause to get it to open even a single page. It was an obvious attempt to harass her. The culprits behind the act were equally obvious. Not far from where Ren was sitting, Ronald Griffith and his lackeys, whom she memorably turned away to despair, were snickering to themselves, their eyes mockingly focused on Ren all the while. They're not even interested in hiding what they like anymore. I'm sure at this point they want me to know who did it to intimidate me. This latest development also confirmed in her mind that they were responsible for trying to push her down the stairs the day before. What a pitiful sight they were. Because she was refused to join the group, her existence was in their eyes nothing more than a hindrance to Ronald's campaign for student council president. They would stop at nothing to either break her spirit and force her to join or shame her into lowering her popularity among the student body. It didn't matter that Ren had no interest in taking part in the election. And further inspecting the state of their textbooks, Ren's expression grew difficult to read. I think I can make them usable again, but not in what little time I have left before class. The bell soon chimed to signal the start of her lesson. Ren left the textbook out on the top of the desk, making no effort to open them throughout. Her instructor was, of course, less than pleased about this perceived slight against them, picking her to answer a question as an attempt to try to improve behavior. Miss Bright, please read the next paragraph aloud for us. Ronald and his friends let out a series of pleased giggles at this time, her minds delighting at the thought of a flustered Ren being told off and humiliated in front of the entire class. But what transpired in reality played out very differently from their fantasies. Without missing a beat, Ren did exactly as she was told, reciting the selected paragraph she had been asked to read word for word. And all while her textbook remained closed. Did you memorize the entire book? Even the instructor could not hide their surprise. But of course, as a student of Artemis Academy, I would never dare to compromise in preparing for my lessons. Ren responded with such a grace that she, of course, drew in more sighs and coos of admiration from both her instructor and peers alike. It was only Ronald and his posse who groaned with sullen expressions. The next incident came on Ren's way to school the next morning. She entered the school gates with a horde of the other students, and she was just about to step into the building when she noticed a foul smelling coming from above her. She looked upward, noticing a portion of the fencing surrounding the building rooftop was falling directly above her. Other students noticed at the same time, letting out screams of horrors and words they could do nothing about. I could get out of the way if I easily wanted, but the fencing was over 2 arms in length. She could escape unharmed, but the other students around her likely would not. That was the risk she was unwilling to take. Grasping the battle orb hidden in her bag, she cried out, "Earthstrike!" A sphere of wind formed in response to her incantation, flying upward at high speeds. She carefully controlled its power so that instead of sending the fence flying, it simply cancelled out its momentum instead, allowing her to hop and catch it with ease. This was no accident. The smell makes it obvious. It was a distinct smell of a liquid extracted from a certain plant monster. One of its properties was to imitate the natural corrosion of metal, resulting in its application of certain solvents. This made the fence falling a deliberate action that the perpetrator had been trying to disguise as an accident. And with Ren having been the target of several malicious acts already, the culprit was clear. Again, she could feel the presence of those familiar hateful stares pouring into her from the shadows. But again as well, they were not the only ones with eyes on her. Whoa, that was awesome. Did you see that? Is there anything she can't do? Ren's quiet meditation was disrupted by a multitude of cheers and applause from all around her. As if she were a performer just about to leave the stage, she gave an elegant bow in response. This would not be the last time she endured harassment from Ronald's group, but each and every time they thought they had bested her, she would handle herself with exemplary skill, their efforts only serving to make her more popular. The state of affairs continued for several more days before a seemingly out of patience Ronald summoned her in behind the school building after lessons were over for the day. He stood oppressively before, his lackeys behind him, with a composure he attempted to feign before, now replaced by plain vile anger. Let me give it to you straight, Ren Bright. You are an eyesore. Even that gentleman in the air he impersonated before was gone. Really? Well, that's not a very polite thing to say to a classmate. Don't try to act cute and innocent. I've put too much damn time and merit into building a position up at this academy, but who's always the center of attention instead? It's you. It's always you. It's like you're deliberately trying to sabotage my chances of success, and that's the last thing I can afford right now. The more livid Ronald became, the more unruffled Ren was in turn. You're only sabotaging yourself by setting me up to succeed over and over again. You are aware of that, aren't you? Had she not been forced to defend herself against him over and over again, she would not have received nearly as much of his attention. This being pointed out caused Ronald to return an audible tut of frustration. Who cares about how it happens? The point is, this has gone long enough, so I'm going to have to ask you to step off the stage for a while. What do you mean? Ronald seemed to present some of his initial cool from when they first talked as he answered. Oh, I mean something very simple. You just won't come to school until the election is over. And if I refuse? To this he raised a hand. In response, his lackey stepped forward to surround her. The boys were unusually well built for their age, showing off their hulking forms in hopes of intimidating her. Refusing is not an option, I'm afraid. If you aren't going to oblige me willingly, we will just have to make it so you can't come to school for a while. His lackeys cracked their knuckles dramatically to clarify their leader's intent. Well, that's no good. I think we both know that would constitute a grave violation of school rules. Something about her inflection caused him to mistake her commentary as showing as a hint of fear, further fueling the desire to dominate the situation. No one's watching in place like this, and even if something did happen, my father's a politician. He can make it go away. If they don't willingly choose to ignore what they saw in deference to my position, that is. Everyone at this academy seems to already know their place, you see. Everyone except you. His smile then was so unpleasant that a sigh escaped Ren. Oh, I think you're the one who doesn't know your place. I don't want to be rough with him after what Tita said, but he needs to be taught a good, hard lesson. Damn straight. Ronald continued on, oblivious to what was running through his apparent victim's hand. Now do as I say. His lackeys drew closer, readying to seize her. I'll keep it mild, but I still want this to hurt for them, just enough to set them on the right track. I don't think Estelle and Joshua would object to that. But just as she was about to act, stop this at once. A girl's shout could be heard from the direction of the school building. She was, of course, not shouting at Ren. And who are you? Ronald was visibly irritated. Though the girl appeared to be visibly nervous, she continued to stand her ground. I didn't mean to listen in, but I couldn't help but overhear what was happening here. You can't go through with this. What you're doing is wrong. The girl stepped forward till she was directly in front of Ren to protect her from the schoolyard bullies. As she did so, the light revealed sleek, dazzling blonde hair that shimmered much like the sunshine above. Ren recognized her to be a first-year student who lived in the dormitory next to her own. They weren't close to one another. At most, they only exchanged polite greetings with one another as they passed each other in the hall. She always seemed to look like a quiet, polite young woman with a good upbringing. However, not the type whose eyes would glow with a resolve as she put her well-being on the line for someone else. Ren was surprised by this, as was Ronald, though he was less than impressed. He would never fathomed that another student would dare to resist him. One thing he did was sense that her resistance was a little more than a brave front. With excitement at the thought of stripping that front bare, he grew a sadistic smile and addressed her. Is it now? Well, how fortunate for me that I have you to show me the error of my ways. Ren can wait. You're a first year, I assume. I'm going to need to give you a lesson in just how right and wrong works in our society. Upon a signal, his lackeys shifted to surround a new target over Ren. She began to tremble as danger closed in on her, but still she did not move. Don't you dare. This time, it was Ren who spoke up. I'll give you what you want, so don't you dare touch her. But, you sure about that? She wasn't planning on that response, but Ronald was more than happy to have his win in any form. I'll stay away from school for a while. That's what you want, right? But then, the experience of studying abroad had been rather tiring for me, so maybe I do need some rest. Ren's voice was gentle in an attempt to assuage the girl's concerns. Ronald, meanwhile, made no attempt to hide the joy he felt at victory, laughing heartily with all the glee of a spoiled child. Good, now everyone knows their place here. I see no reason to harm either of you now that I've got what I want. Consider yourselves lucky now that I've decided to let you go. Ronald turned away and made to leave, his lackeys following suit. Good day to you then. When we meet, this school will be all mine. Then he was gone. With only the girls left behind the school building, the younger of the two looked up at her senior, concern welling in her expression. "I really am alright. You're very kind to worry." Ren's smile was one of the genuine kindness. From then on, Ren did indeed stop coming to school, citing illness as the official reason behind her absence. The students then gathered in the Academy's auditorium several days later for the long-awaited Student Council election. RMS Academy as a whole placed great importance on the autonomy of its students, and as such, the Student Council exercised an unusual amount of power. It also weighed upon them a massive amount of responsibility, such as being the sole planner for this Academy's festival, a symbol and celebration of the spring capital. This, however, also led to the position being a major status symbol even long after graduation. All of this was why a large number of students put their names forward to become the Student Council president every year. Yet this year, a great majority of the most promising candidates dropped out under mysterious circumstances, leaving only Ronald and others associated with him on the ballot. I couldn't exactly boast about winning by default. Ronald and his supporters sat in the rest area, chuckling among themselves at the whole affair. Perhaps his name wasn't the only one on the ballot, but none of the other students had done any certifiable campaigning, meaning his election was positively assured. Eventually, the time came for him to give a speech. It was a compelling one. He played the part of a respectable young gentleman as he delivered it, speaking with that same silver tongue he inherited well from his father. There were some moments where he failed to hide his arrogance, but as no one else had prepared a speech to give, this was not the blow to his campaign that it otherwise would have been. Now, if you continue your eyes to the screen he spoke of was at the back of the auditorium. This was a rather notable feature to have in a school building, to have anywhere, and was installed several years prior for use in lectures and to display recreational films. Other nations had yet to indulge in such luxuries, showing just how far ahead Calvert was in its technology. Up until then, students had used it to display photographs during their speeches, but Ronald intended to take it another step further. He wanted to share a promotional video, and not a simple makeshift, self-proclaimed one that might ordinarily be presented by an amateur, but rather a professional work he paid a considerable amount of mirror for. Its quality was genuinely impressive. His victory was written in stone, but this, he knew, would cement it that much more. Convinced this would serve as the perfect beginning to his ascension to the top of the social hierarchy, he started the video. The musical number it played was rousing, fitting. What followed then was Ronald appearing on screen. "So how much mirror do you want for supporting me? I can make it worth your while." What? The video playing before them was not the one intended. Rather than an inspiration show of what he could bring to the student body, it was a recording of him buying off one of his opponents just days before. As hushed whispers of confusion spread through the auditorium, the next clip played. "If you know what's good for you, you'll withdraw your candidacy right now, or the only thing you'll be president of is a hospital bed." Next was an equally unexpected scene of Ronald intimidating another candidate into withdrawing from the race. As it continued, Ronald realized what was going on. Someone out there had replaced his carefully prepared video with another. The initially hesitant whispers exploded into loud enough murmurs that he had to raise his voice over them in his attempt to quell the situation. "This is all a forgery. Someone is attempting to frame me." But just at that moment, as if waiting for his cries of denial, a girl's voice resounded from the auditorium's entrance. "I'm afraid it's all entirely genuine." Her voice rang out with a wonderful clarity, charming all who heard it. She ran her hand through her violet hair and flipped it back as she talked and walked slowly toward the stage. Bribing, potential threats, blackmailing, threatening, even executing violence against others, and many others cases of bullying besides. "You're guilty of every single count, Ronald Griffith." Before anyone could fully understand what was happening, the student was on the stage and staring Ronald down. All eyes were fixed upon this elegant figure. Indeed, without any effort at all, she had the air of the protagonist from some epic tale making her long-awaited appearance. "Damn it, Renbright, must you insist on getting in my way at every turn?" He growled through a sheet of anger. In contrast, the recently absent Ren responded with a brilliant composure. "You are the one getting in the way of the fair running of this important election. Your countless crimes have made a mockery of this whole process." Ren then turned from Ronald to the rest of the student body as she continued to list his crimes along this still running video. Some elicited frowns, others sympathy, others complete silence, but by the time she was finished, all were united in a single overpowering emotion: anger. It brings me no joy to say this about a fellow student, but I'm afraid it must be said. Ronald Griffith, you do not deserve to even attend this prestigious academy, much less be the president of its student council. Similar censure from other students followed in rapid succession. Yeah, she's right. Stop ruining our academy. You've gone too far. Ren's accusations wasn't the only reason for their anger. The students of Armus had long loathed Ronald's oppressive behavior. They only hadn't spoken out before because they were afraid of his father's power. Now that they realized that he could be stopped, their anger had reached an explosive boiling point. Ronald suddenly found himself at the center of a torrent of abuse. He looked to his likeness for support, but even they refused to meet his gaze. It then dawned on him just how fragile all he thought he built was. Rage gave way to an instant deep despair, and casting a glare of pure hatred towards Ren, Ronald hurriedly sprinted out of the auditorium. Only when he was completely out of sight did the air erupt with cheers of joy. In the end, addressing the aftermath of the election took long enough that by the time she left for the gates, it was already evening. Yet, even with how late it was, instead of walking her usual route home, she stepped off the path to enter an entirely unoccupied park. How does this work? No one's going to erupt up here, so how about you come on out? In response to her words, Ronald emerged before her for the first time since he ran away earlier in the day, and with 10 or so companions in tow. These men weren't his usual lackeys, but instead vicious figures with dark expressions and gaudy clothing. They were clearly not students of the academy. More than likely, they belonged to some local gang. You don't keep very good company outside of school now, do you? With how they're dressed up, I assumed you must be off to a party or something. I am going to wipe that smug smirk right off that face for good, Renbright. My dazzling future in politics was guaranteed, but now you've gone and ruined everything. What am I supposed to say to my father now? That's your problem, not mine. Or are you so small a man that you can't own up to the consequences of your actions? Not a second passed between his outburst and the manner in which he snapped back, causing his temper to grow twice as vile. That's it. I don't care what it takes. You are going to pay for thinking you can cross me and get away with it. Have at her. There won't be any consequences for going too far. My father will see to that. The men sprung into motion upon Ronald's signal, but what followed made them doubt their eyes. Ronald could not understand what just unfolded before him. His eyes relayed the information well enough, but his mind rejected it completely. The second after he ordered his new lackeys to attack, Ren had produced a monstrously sized black and gold scythe from the air. This in itself was beyond comprehension, but it wasn't the last thing to be so. The scene was like a cat toying with a powerless cornered mouse, except in this shocking case, Ren was the cat and his men were the mice. They surrendered at first, and yet all it took was a single swing of her conjured weapon to cause most of them to collapse on the ground. In less than 10 seconds, their confidence had crumbled with their bodies. The mice had made to scurry as fast as they could, but the cat gleefully gave chase. They were even given moments where she would let a few think they had gone away, only for her to immediately close the gap between them. It was only after she was bored that she would knock them unconscious like the rest, then she would seek the light in her next hunt. Like heavy sacks of potatoes, the men fell one by one, until only Ren and Ronald were left. This can't be happening. The young man was still struggling to come to terms with what he just witnessed as Ren stretched her limbs like a bored child still gearing up to play. Amateurs, every last one of them. I thought I could at least have a little fun. Oh, but don't you worry, I didn't actually slaughter them. She turned her gaze from the spectacle of her own creation to Ronald. Would you be open to giving me a little more entertainment, perhaps, Ronald? Ronald twitched in fear at the mention of his name. In this moment, she was now nothing more than a beast in a human skin. Stay away from me. My father's in Parliament, you know. Try anything on me and you'll regret it. Her response was an expression of pure pity before tossing what appeared to be a magazine at his feet. It's one of today's tabloids. You might find its contents relevant. What? At first he was baffled by the shift, but the second he peeked over at the cover, his face went pale. Representative Griffith, suspected of bribery and connections to organized crime, read the headline in giant punchy lettering. There's a whole special feature on your dearest daddy, complete with evidence. It mentions that the CID is going to be conducting an investigation as well, so this may be the last day you can say he's in Parliament. My condolences, Savage. No. So visceral was the shock at the news that the simple word was all he could muster. Even then, Ren wasn't finished. So now that he's been removed from the equation, I'll ask again, would you be open to giving me a little more entertainment? She edged closer and closer, scythe in hand, and a sadistic smile lacing her lips. Ronald tried to retreat in fear before tripping over a rock and falling hopelessly on his backside. All he could do was watch her as though she were the Grim Reaper, tears and snot streaming down his face. Be a doll and play with me, then you'll understand why they used to call me the Angel of Slaughter. She raised her scythe above her head and ready to swing it downward before realizing what she said. Oops, a grown woman wouldn't play with dolls, now would she? And here I thought I could better control my childish glee. She covered her mouth with her free hand, blushing with feminine modesty at her slip-up. None of this was behavior befitting the proper lady she wanted to reflect. After composing herself, she turned her attention back to her prey, only to see he was already unconscious. Finished? As she left the park, a calm young man called out to her. I certainly am. Ren met eyes with a brown-skinned young man, leaning covertly against one of the trees. It was safe to assume he had witnessed the entire affair unfold. He glanced inside the park for a brief moment before speaking with slight but genuine admiration. You really are something. In what way? In every way, even if I was more struck by the hacking abilities of the famous kitty than the comment prowess of the infamous Angel of Slaughter. Still, hard to believe you managed to find dirt on this big-wig dad that easily. Ren's response was matter of fact, showing no sign his praise had gone to her head. Most people just aren't as cautious about cybersecurity as they ought to be, understandable with how new most are to it. Of course, it isn't nearly as easy as this was when you're dealing with leading corporations and politicians at the top of the food chain. You made it sound like you've tried before. Maybe I have. Ren's smile was both cryptic and darling. I've been more impressed with you. You were quick to write a piece that's scathing while also finding me exactly the proof I needed. I'm glad Grace introduced us. Just doing my job. The man's name was Dingo, and he was a professional reporter for a tabloid. He was extremely capable at his job, very well connected, and held a reputation for never shying away from a danger. After being introduced to one another by Grace Lynn, he and Ren made a deal with one another just a few days prior. The terms were simple. Dingo would provide Ren with proof of Ronald's misdemeanors, and Ren would use her hacking abilities to provide evidence of his father's crime. Both were now reaping the rewards of the other's success. Though I'll admit I did get some help from a friend, he was none too pleased about being asked to look into a scummy politician's equally scummy son, but he pulled through. Oh, you just have all kinds of connections, don't you? She did send someone other than Dingo was acting on her behalf while she was off school, but she wasn't sure who that someone was. This curious sensation regarding their identity remained as she continued the conversation. You know, I'm surprised you didn't meet with any resistance in running that story. That just goes to show how big a fan the government was of Griffith. They left him alone because he didn't actively oppose the current president's party, but from the CID's perspective, this chance to take him down was about as good as it was going to get. That does sound like something Miss Taito Master over there would do. I can't say I like the feeling of being used by her, but oh well. Dingo then made a curious observation. I have to wonder why you went to such lengths to get rid of a small fry like him. He really bother you that much? Ren glanced briefly at Ronald, still clapped on the ground of the park before shrugging her shoulders dismissively. Not in the least. I didn't intend for this to go as far as it did either. I only wanted to teach him enough of a lesson so he'd leave me alone, but it was then that the younger student who tried to save her came to mind. I think the students deserve a much better student council president than him. He then let out a titter that was most refined. As Ren expected, the allegations led Ronald's father to resign from Parliament, while he resigned from Artemis Academy. The group of students who exerted power over the student body with his backing vanished overnight as a result, bidding peace to return to the grounds for the first time in too long. One thing, however, came about from this that Ren had not expected in the least. Here are all the documents relating to the next month's budget. The student council's new president accepted the documents from the blonde-haired first year in charge of general affairs, perusing them straight away. After Ronald dashed from the auditorium on the day of the election, most of those in his group who put down their name dropped out in a timely fashion. Voting still took place even then, but once all was said and done, nearly 70% of the votes cast were disqualified. This was because they were all in favor of someone who never had put her name on the ballot. Ren Bright. Artemis Academy is known for how little its staff interfered with the many liberties it gave its students, but this time the staff was clearly concerned that dissatisfaction with Ronald was going to present dire problems in the future. The teachers then chose to directly negotiate with Ren, and in the face of such fervent demand, she reluctantly accepted the position of student council president. None of her duties posed a challenge to her, but by accepting it, she had completely and utterly failed her initial goal of avoiding attention. I wonder if this is how the Thor's Branch campus's first student council president felt when he was elected. Even I couldn't believe it when Tita told me. Alright, it is what it is, I suppose. I'll just have to make use of this best as I can. Sunlight beamed into the student council room. The blonde-haired girl and two of her friends struggled with the new workload they were adjusting to. As Ren sat there, ears open to random talk and the occasional grumble, a thought crossed her mind. She had no end of real-world worries. The problems arising from rapid technological development, the society's next move, the ominous winds of change blustering over Calvert. But despite all of those, she wanted to enjoy her simple time here while she could. Let's say we get this work so we can celebrate with the tea party, The arrival of spring was now a distant memory, even if summer had yet to come. There was nothing particularly spectacular about this time. It was just another ordinary, beautifully bright afternoon. Unconventional student at the end. Great episode. Great episode. Alright, last one. Forward, sword in hand. Let's go. September year 1207 of the Septine calendar. I cannot accept. I was not one to mince words. The hulking bear of veteran bracers in Vatha could not hide his disappointment, puffing out his bottom lip with a sigh as he stood before me. Nah, no break needed. I'm good. Not again, you gotta resign yourself to the inevitable one of these days. I have been in debt to this man who was as capable as he was kind since my first days in the guild. Truly, I didn't wish to be a source of vexation for him, but the wish alone was not enough. I have neither the experience nor skill to be worthy of A rank, so I cannot accept the recommendation. Racers are assigned ranks based on their strength and achievements, with A rank being the highest on paper at least. Its members are the very face of its beloved organization, and as such, ranks are a metaphorical badge of armor to be worn with pride. So how had I received multiple recommendations for the most prestigious rank in 6 months? I spared no effort in working to hone my craft in the years I joined after school, and certainly I wouldn't classify myself as a doe-eyed newcomer. But to have my name among the greats of the guild? Absolutely not. But after turning down my first recommendation, a second one had come from the guild's headquarters in Lehman. If you ask me, you got both in spades. There's something else making you lead toward a no? Zin's awkward smile told me he had been pressured by the headquarters to persuade me. I folded my arms. Setting aside whether you're overestimating me or not, which I believe you are, there is. I would very much like to not stand out any more than I already do. I've been getting offers to be a model, to star in films. It's been frankly exhausting forcing them to give up. Now, what do you think would happen if I were to accept a promotion? I'll be neck deep in the same mess all over again. Okay, that makes sense, but sorry, you're a 1-2 punch in the beauty and bronze department, trying to lay lows a lost cause. With the kind of fans you're getting, maybe you should consider the silver screen after all. Who knows? You might walk away with an award from the film festival. Zin's laugh was hearty in contrast to my unamused frown. Much as I respected him, he could do with showing a little more decorum. That's not funny. I understand being in the public eye to some extent is inevitable, and I've accepted it, but I'm a bracer, not an entertainer. Always trying to be funny though. You gotta find a way to let off some steam, or you're gonna break when you need you to put together the most. Happens to the workaholics like you more often than you think. I didn't think I was pushing myself as much as he implied, but I also couldn't deny there was a nugget of truth to what he said. We were getting off topic. Just why is headquarters so desperate for me to become an A-rank bracer? I can't see the logic behind it. Well, you see, starting with what you know, the reparations from Erebone have beefed up our economy this year, so all kinds of new investments are pouring in from across the continent. Now, I'm no economist, but people go where the money's at, and where people go, conflict follows. That's just how it is. I saw where it was going from there, electing to expand upon the rest myself. So now we have disputes between mega corporations and a stark increase in Jaeger activity. These are in addition to the known growth of private military companies and increased tensions between mafias. You got it. You think it's bad now? It's only going to get worse from here. That's why Lehman wants to up security here while promoting our rising star, you. They see it as good PR for the guild and a deterrent to any potential sets that are thinking about stepping out of line. Perhaps I was more vaguely aware of their goal in using me than I wanted to admit. This didn't make hearing the answer any more satisfying. If they have you asking me to play my part, then surely they have asked you to play your part already. You've been recommended for S-rank, haven't you? If you know of a better deterrent than having an S-rank in Calvary, then I'd like to hear it. Zin's scratch? Zin's scratched the back of his head awkwardly upon my statement. I just don't think I'm up there with someone like Cassius Bright. S isn't even an official rank, and even if it was, just look at me. You think a guy like me is a picture-perfect advertisement for the guild? Not wrong. I think you have the skills, achievements, and build to be one. Yes? A curt, quick response. Alright, point made. I can't force you to take the recommendation, and I'm not about to be a hypocrite. Just let me know if you change your mind, okay? With that, the conversation came to an end, and the guild's bracers gathered to be a routine meeting, delegating open requests. This is how I preferred things. It was better to stay like this. There was a point when I wanted to be something more. I can no longer remember when that was. Somewhat time during my childhood, it happened to be sure. I just recall realizing how small the world truly was, so I prayed and longed to become someone I was not. It was around high school when I thought I became that someone. Those years were unforgettable. I'll never forget that unexpected reunion that was there, nor the priceless treasure I had gained. I truly thought I'd gotten closer to who I wanted to be. But in the end, it was just wishful thinking. My hand, once held, was now empty, and I was still a nobody. But I refused to stand still. I grew unrelenting and following the path I chose for myself, ignoring my family's objections. My motivations had changed, however. I no longer possessed that girlhood desire of becoming something more, of becoming someone. I just needed to keep moving, however aimless that movement was. Well, aren't we looking gorgeous today? With a whimsical wink, a familiar bartender welcomed me to his establishment. He was a tall, affable man who lived by his own rules and never hesitated to lend me a helping hand to others. He reminded me much of the Crossbell City branch's receptionist from the few times I visited for work. The place was nearly empty today. I sat down on the counter farthest from the door as he approached. The usual, sweetheart. I stopped by here after a hard day's work on occasion, and whenever I did, I always ordered coffee and a light snack. This is not a coffee and snacks kind of day. I want something with alcohol. Even beer will do. Not at all fazed by the vagueness of my order, he walked away and started preparing my drink. It wasn't long before I returned and placed an elegant glass in front of me. I think this is a little more than a beer. It was a beautiful cocktail composed of two colors, a clear blue like that of a priceless sapphire and a calming jade. No doubt he could tell how disquieted my heart was and was trying to soothe it in his own way. I thanked him inwardly before daring to broach my other reason for coming. Have you learned anything more about what I asked? Apart from being a skilled bartender, he was also a well-known informant. He was extremely well connected to the guild, the press, and even the criminal underworld, but he was very careful never to overstep his bounds with that last one. Indeed, I found him to be a valuable source when needed. I wish I could say yes, but not even Dingo has any promising leads. Still, I think you've got your eyes on the Red District. It's only a matter of time before they get smoked out. I see. Since the guild's investigation turned up nothing, I was hoping he would better point me in the right direction. But it seemed this was going to be a lot harder than I hoped for. Things will work out, just pace yourself and keep it at it a little bit at a time. It also applies to that cocktail. It's a strong one, so don't drink it all at once. I tilted the glass delicately between my fingers as he stepped away, my mind continuing to wade through the case I was following. There had been a stark increase in illegal drugs on the market, not just any drugs either, but ones of the highly addictive, dangerous variety. Heiwei, who effectively ruled over the criminal underworld in Calvard, ordinarily limited their proliferation in the market as part of their rules. Limiting the number of drugs was, of course, far from the ideal elimination of them, but none could deny that the syndicate's actions had brought some semblance of order to where chaos often reigned supreme. Yet the past few years have been in a worrying number of criminal groups rebelling against these carefully curated rules. One of these groups was surely behind the change in the market, and all of this held a presumed connection to two missing people. The guild and police had been tasked with searching for two children below the age of 10, a boy and his younger sister. They simply left the house one day and had not been seen since. Evidence suggested that they came from a perfectly ordinary family and good terms with one another, so the likelihood of them running away was slim. We mulled over the suspicion that they had been abducted for ransom early on, but not a single demand was made following the disappearance, so it was quickly ruled out. Despite a healthy amount of manpower that was coming from both sides, neither the guild nor the police had yet to find them. That said, the search so far had not proved entirely fruitless. The last known location was fortunately established, and it was unfortunately a popular site for illicit drug trade. The working theory from there became that the siblings witnessed the transaction and were held captive by the criminal parties involved as a result. If that held true, then the longer it took our parties to find them, the greater the danger their lives were in. The abductors wouldn't do anything right away. Murder was sure to leave trace evidence behind, but it was only a matter of time before they resorted to that or trafficking abroad to be rid. With each passing second, the odds of the children being returned unharmed are dropping to zero. At the same time, all of this was pure speculation on our part based on a single established location. For all we knew, this had nothing to do with the criminal underworld after all. The potential danger stood around made inaction an agonizing task, but if there was no evidence to go on, action was impossible. We could forcibly arrest any suspicious people on site and make them talk should we wish it. But that would be a direct violation of the guild's code and its founding principles. The Bracer Guild always sought to be an ally of the people first and foremost, so resorting to criminal acts to obtain evidence was out of the question. If only the strict adherence to our code didn't stop us from being able to resolve so many crimes, thereby putting the people we swore to protect in danger. It was the ultimate impasse. As I found myself pondering on this impossible dilemma, the Bracers had placed themselves in, a familiar face came to mind. He was a childhood friend with blue-tinged, unkempt hair. Though we had lost contact with one another some years before, he had one day returned to the city as suddenly as he had left it, soon after starting up a particular profession that skirted the lines of legality to a dangerous degree. The kind of profession that could easily involve himself in the affairs of many unscrupulous individuals, or so I believe. Yes, what did that idiot think he was doing? He walked out of my life in the warning and walked back in with much the same. I'd spent so much time searching for him. I knew our reunion would be an awkward one based on how we parted, but for him to return after all that waiting, all that searching, and dive into some questionable enterprise so different from my own was almost too much to bear. It gave rise to many concerns as a bracer and many more concerns as a friend. And the one that bothered me the most was, why hadn't he come to see me? Did he have any idea how worried I was about him? How worried I am about him? Irritation building, I took a large gulp of my cocktail, but the alcohol only fanned the flames of anger burning in my heart. They burned brighter and brighter still, becoming a dazzling white that projected countless transient images of the past. Then, as quickly as it had flared, my anger faded in an instant, replacing itself with a very different emotion altogether. Why did you leave me? The words slipped from my mouth without me realizing it, making me feel downright pitiful once they were said. If someone were to see me in this state, you still haven't moved on, I see. A familiar but unexpected voice called out to me, causing me to jump slightly from surprise. I quickly regained my composure. I just have a few choice words I'd like to say. My response? Feigned calmness as best I could. I couldn't help but think I had more than a few choice words, but following up with that would aim my annoyance in a way I would rather not further. Oh, I imagine you have more than a few. Right, of course he would see right through me. The bespectacled man then sat down next to me as though our running into each other was no coincidence. He was another childhood friend of both myself and the one I was lamenting over, and someone who followed a remarkably different career path from either one of us. If it's still bothering you that much, why not just go and see him? You already have his address by now, surely. How could I with how much time that's passed? As I mumbled my response meekly, I thought I could hear the man next to me chuckle. Well, then I suppose there's no need to rush things. With your lines of work, I'm sure your path will cross naturally enough in due time. I didn't expect that kind of response. You make it sound romantic. Lest you have forgotten, I don't struggle with expressing what's in my heart the way he does. Now, since we're here, how about a toast? I'll make your next one non-alcoholic. Unless you have forgotten, I can handle my liquor just fine, thank you very much. We then spent the rest of our time reminiscing about the past. That had been too long since we were able to just sit and talk like this. It wasn't that he and I had become estranged, but both of our jobs made it trying to task to meet even at the best of times. By the way, I heard you turned down becoming an A-rank bracer again. Of course, that wouldn't escape the CID's ears. The information itself wasn't confidential, but that he already knew something, however unofficial it was entirely typical of him. The Bracer Guild focused on protecting civilians, while the CID focused solely on the needs of the president in the office. The groups were neither enemies nor allies, they simply had very different goals where work was concerned. I know it's in my place to tell you to accept the offer, however, he paused before resuming, his tone becoming markedly more serious. The times you lived in demand a new hero, that much is clear. I had no idea what a realist like him was trying to say by implying I was a hero, but before I could inquire further, he changed the subject that was likely brought him to find me in the first place. Now, if you don't mind, I have something that will be of interest to you regarding the missing children. My eyes widened from the unexpected change, he continued. We've identified a group that made the restricted turf, as well as compelling evidence of a crime taking place. You may proceed as you like in cooperation with the police. I couldn't believe it. On a fine silver platter, he had given me just cause to act. And since the information came from the CID, there was no reason to doubt its veracity. I felt it. I was on the verge of rekindling my girlhood desires. All I had done till now was follow life where it was taking me, and yet here I found myself before a new path that could lead to someone that I once wanted to be. This deviation terrified me. What if it led to me losing someone again? What if it ended in more pain? My fear begged me to stay idle. I was a fragile human being at my core. I knew it well. It made me wish I was anything but. It inspired me to take up the sword and rebel against any whispers of weakness, and I played the part admirably on the surface. But if I were forced to face cruel reality in the future, I wonder, would my heart be able to take it? As I sidestepped from the left, I shifted my center of gravity and unleashed a furious slashes against my first foe, using that momentum to thrust both myself and my blade toward my second. Two lower-ranking mobsters fell to the ground. They were members of a mafia I had been chasing, and right now I was in the thick of their den of operations. My friend gave the guild and police the excuse they needed to take a more direct stance against our targets. Its information was vague, however, so we still had to discern their precise location on our own. I, Zin, and several other bracers agreed it would be best to split our forces and attack several locations in unison for this part of our mission. Based on what just transpired, it appeared my location was the lucky winner. There's the intruder. Hey, I've seen her before. She's from the paper. 2 more reinforcements arrived, but I was hardly going to give them time to act. I raced forward, swinging my sword twice as I passed them, and they fell before they could even raise their weapons. I advanced, mobsters appeared in droves, presumably word of my arrival had already spread. There she is. She's that bracer word's been going around about. Well, damn it, what if the immovable's here too? Don't be chicken shit, it's one woman, we can take care of her. They then charged me in a mass, at least 10 of them, with more reinforcements on their way from farther inside the building. Forcing my way through with how many they had in the numbers was risky. I knew the sensible thing to do would be to wait for the other bracers to show, but also had to consider, what if my waiting afforded the Mafia the time to wield the children as hostages? Weighing the 2 options, I concluded that whatever reduced the chances of that happening was worth the cost. I needed to push on and settle this now. Besides, I believe I had nothing to fear from this pitiful group as they were. Were they seasoned combat veterans, they could have used their numerical advantage to implement complex formations and corner me, but they did no such thing, the amateurs. And they dared to believe they held a candle to Heiwei's martial arts? In the face of my experience, their bloated size was more of a hindrance than a help. They wouldn't be able to utilize even half of their potential against me. I first had to position myself and them appropriately. If I could ensure the gun-toting wielders among them were in each other's line of fire while rounding up the close-range fighters to a single spot, they would soon have to have bigger worries. Friendly fire. Their vulnerabilities would then spell my victory as I cut them down. 1 down, 2 down. The precious seconds after defeating a foe were the most advantageous. Just as a man had fallen, I was on another before they had time to adjust to my incoming blade. There was no pattern to who was next by design. I chose my targets with stunning erraticism, throwing them into complete disarray as more collapsed to the ground. 3 down, 4. I would go around them in a wide circle. I would move between them while remaining ever aware of any surprise assaults at my back. I waited through them till I encountered the ones farthest back. These ones never even considered I would be able to reach them. They were spread so carelessly. The men took up their guns with newly alert panic strewn across their faces, but their fate was already sealed. They were powerless as I closed the gap between us. 5, 6, 7. With over half their number down, the remaining mobsters were quickly losing their will to counter. Some attacked out of adrenaline-induced desperation, calculating the next move so poorly that they fell into my lungs to trap and accidentally attack themselves. At this point, the battle was as good as final. All I had to do was continue taking them down until I was the last one standing. There were smaller groups I encountered on my way through the building, but I was able to disable them with little effort. The path they opened up for me eventually led me to their leader. He was a middle-aged fellow pacing relentlessly across a pleasantly gaudy room until I entered. He twitched in fear upon the very sight of me. "Why are you here? Where are my men?" Kissing the floors. I answered so calmly and concisely that he balked in disbelief. "That's impossible. I swear my balls off to build this group from the ground up, and you're saying a girl like you tore it all down just like that?" I ignored his crude language and drew closer. As I thrust my sword till it sat just between his eyes, he let out a squeal. "Well, I'm no ordinary girl, I'm a bracer. And don't worry, I didn't kill them, they only have been knocked out or restrained. You'll be seeing them in goons soon, in prison." I shot a dark glare in his direction as the tip of the sword wandered toward his neck. "Now, I have some questions for you, and you'll answer them." The man nodded emphatically, his whole body trembling in fear. 2 children, a boy and a girl under 10 years old, disappeared last month. Your people abducted them, didn't they? He nodded. "I knew it. Then where are they? What did you do to them?" "They're in the room farther inside. They're alive." At last I could breathe a sigh of relief. My most fundamental objective when coming here could be fulfilled. Next, I needed to ask him more about his group. "I thought you all seemed far too weak to be charged of this district of the city, but after coming across your account book, everything fell into place. You're working on behalf of someone else, aren't you?" He was so unsure of how to respond that he felt completely silent, but that alone gave me my answer. Who is it then? Tell me. Is it A? I can't. He flinched in fear as I pressed him, resisting as though he generally couldn't say. Then, just as his trembling lips to speak, I heard a strange thudding sound from outside the room. I stepped away from the man, my sword still firmly in hand. Crunching, squelching, splattering. More sounds, these more audible than the first. I didn't know what to make of them, but they made me feel an instinctive revulsion as they dragged on. They may have accompanied by faint groans, but if they did, they faded just as soon as the sounds themselves. I remained on guard as I stepped out into the hallway, ready to be attacked from any angle at any moment, and the sight that greeted me defied all imagination. The mobsters I fought through mere minutes before were now nothing more than disoriented, mutilated piles of flesh and bone. Not just one or two, every single one of them without exception had been reduced to bloodied mounds. Some were without heads, others had their organs ripped from their abdomens. Then there were those with their skulls caved in and leaking pulverized brain matter, or the ones with their hearts pulled and squeezed. Each corpse was different, each corpse was unbearable to look at. The plain hallway I had traversed with all due speed was now covered in a sticky, slimy red. Who could have done something like this? The sight was so awful that my free hand, now clenched, shook from disgust. When was it ever necessary to go this far? What could anyone have to gain from this? Wait, no. I realized I had just made a very careless mistake. I turned and hurried back into the room I was just in. I was too late. The Mafia's leader was floating in the air at the center of the room, as though some unknown force was holding him up by his chest. A monstrous sword pierced through his chest. A single streak of blood dripped from his unspeaking mouth. There was no room to believe he was anything but dead. Like all the others in the hallway, he didn't even have time to scream before his life was taken. Who are you? I barked at the center of the room, trying to drown out my instinctive fear with anger. At a glance, only the corpse and I were present, but if I strained my eyes, I could also see faint contours of another distorting space around them. It must have been some form of active camouflage. I would have thought it a basic courtesy to give your name before asking others, charming ace of the Bracer Guild. It was a man's voice that projected true arrogance, as though he were above all others as a matter of course. I instinctively readied myself for battle in response, but my actions seemed not to faze him in the slightest. No need to be spoiling for a fight. I'm simply here to take out the trash after they were careless enough to leave out a trail for the CID to follow. Was I really talking to a fellow human being? How could he speak of such gruesome murders in those terms? Are you a business partner of theirs? No, you must be from the group above them. Very good. He then swung his blade to the side and tossed the corpse off to the side with all respect of a used cigarette. How could you treat people that you worked with like this? People? Have you your ears? I said nothing about taking out a person, only trash. The same applies to the garbage piling up in the hallway. They have always been so, even before they stopped breathing. It was clear that communicating with someone of his nature was impossible. I dismissed calm reason for an intense, all-consuming anger so great that my entire body couldn't stop trembling. You monster! Before I knew it, I had sprung into action, pouring every drop of my strength into my blade to launch a swift, unavoidable strike. But he repelled it with one vertical swing of his own. This one exchange was enough to tell me that his strength was a league above mine. He parried my blow at the most perfect instant, cancelling out the force of my attack with so little effort that it barely scratched the surface of what he was capable of. The active camouflage did nothing to hide the monstrous nature of his cruciform sword either. Its design combined silver and black in an unholy fusion of darkness and light, as if chaos itself entwined within its very blade. It was no common weapon. Even if I continued to give them my all, my odds of winning against them were extremely slim. But at the same time, my instincts were screaming at me that I could not allow him to leave. I charged again. If attacking him from the front wasn't going to work, then I would have to go for his side. He blocked that attack with just as little effort. But I wasn't done yet. I refused to stop moving, slashing a third time with even more speed than the first two. I showered him with a flurry of them, each one faster than the last. When I finally reached my physical limit, I darted in a new direction, attacking him from behind. I put my very soul into one overwhelming attack aimed directly at his rear, which I could only just make out through his camouflage's distortion. I got him. However, the second I became sure that victory was within my grasp, his cruciform sword blade carved a great arc through the air in a ferocious spinning slash. I was able to instantly defend myself against the blow, but the force of it sent me flying backward. I was fortunate enough to not have sustained a direct hit, but my body shook from now being able to fully cancel out its massive weight. Still, I forced myself back to my feet and glared at his form. The difference between us was night and day. It felt as though he could manipulate the very flow of battle, much like a master of martial arts who understood the true nature of all things. He paid no mind to my pitiful attempt at bravado and gave a short laugh before speaking. Impressive. You put up more of a fight than the rumors has led me to believe. What's your goal? What are you trying to do with all your strength? I expected him to reject or ignore me, so I was taken aback when he paused for a sincere moment of thought before answering. An interesting question. I suppose to instill fear. Fear? I almost doubted my ears. Fear is at the heart of all we know. Domination and servitude, order, harmony, and production, all of it exists because of fear. That is why I seek to instill fear in its purest form, much like the retributive tower that appeared in Crossbell half a year ago. Such a pity that it fell. There was such pleasure in his words that it made it easy to imagine the expression on his veiled face. As insane as what he was saying sounded to me, I knew he meant every word of it. You really are a monster. Continue your fruitless attempts to stop me and you'll understand what I mean in due time. He lowered his blade. As a parting gift for assisting me in my house cleaning efforts, I will let you go and let you and those children go. Keep that far too pristine blade sharp for our next meeting, Bracer. With that, he turned to leave. Wait. Just as I extended my hand to the ground below him, emitting a bright glow, and by the time that glow had faded, he was gone. He had likely used the same teleportation spell that certain other criminal organizations were known to rely on. His departure also released all the strength I had left in me. Not from relief, but from exact opposite. I was too overwhelmed with frustration that I let him leave, so afraid of what he might go on to do because I couldn't stop him that I lost the strength to even stand. Of course, this is just who I've always been. I haven't changed one bit since the day you left me. I'm still the same powerless girl I was back then. My work wasn't finished yet. I walked to the next room. I opened the door and was greeted by what appeared to be an old storage space. There, across the hall, I found who I was searching for. The brother and sister pair were crouched against the wall, the boy trembling on the floor as his sister stood close by. It's okay. I'm here to help you. I kept my tone as gentle and reassuring as I was able. The girl smiled while the older brother continued to hide his face. I slowly walked toward them, careful not to make any sudden movements, but as I did, the boy shook his head more vigorously. His whole body trembled more the closer I got, as though he were telling me to stay away. The answer from that man flashed in my mind. Fear is at the heart of all we know. Those poor children were very much in fear's clutches. No matter how gradual I was in closing the distance between myself and the boy, trying my best not to provoke him, his body language showed he continued to reject me. We were now within arm's length of one another. His shaking grew more violent, and though he opened his mouth to speak, his voice refused to come out. It's alright. I smiled a most comforting smile. After that, I reached out behind me and grasped the blade of the knife that was being thrust toward me. I turned swiftly, my fingers never letting go, and found the one gripping the hilt to be none other than the sister. She had tiptoed around my back while I was kneeling to meet her brother and tried to stab me from behind. She was a bit startled by my halting her attack, but otherwise she stared blankly forward, emotion on her face nowhere to be seen. I suppose he was right about fear. It controls everything we do. You must have been through something terrifying if it made you resort to this. No doubt they were now conditioned by fear to attack anyone who came to their rescue. I paid no mind to the blood from my bare hands slowly dripping to the floor. The cut from the knife was nothing compared to everything else in that moment. My first priority instead was to reassure that the girl I meant no harm. But we humans are capable of more than giving in to that fear. We can fight it with courage. We can fight it. Your brother was doing just that now. He may have been gripped by fear, but he still fought his hardest through his actions to alert me of the danger his sister posed. Even if it took all he had, he wanted to keep me safe and keep her from committing an irreversible, regrettable act. It was thanks to him that I noticed what she was trying to do. You don't have to be afraid anymore. I'm a bracer, I'll keep you safe. I took the girl into my arms. You're a bracer? Even her voice was devoid of emotion. That's right, I'm here to help you. Oh, I think I've seen you in a magazine before. Something Blade, I think. That's right, the nickname's a little embarrassing, but I'd be happy if you remembered it. That way, as long as you hear it, you'll know I'm here to keep you out of harm's way. I tightened my grip around her as if to stop anything from hurting her and surround her heart with my warmth. It really will be okay, I promise. I noticed her eyes twitch just slightly, and before long, her eyes filled with tears. Soon, she began to snivel, at first a small one here and there, till they gradually grew more pronounced, eventually turning into uncontrollable sobs. She had finally been liberated from her fear. As for me, I had stayed my course. I was too afraid to deviate from my current path. Still, I had chosen this path with pride in my heart. I didn't think it right to turn my back on it now, but I wasn't going to let it be an aimless journey from now on either. And so, it was another day in the Edith branch of Calvard's Guild. It sounds like that Mafia was trying to copy that organization of assassins managed to pull off. I was discussing the recent case with Zen. The siblings had indeed been abducted because they witnessed an illegal transaction. The Mafia involved them then thought to mimic a group of assassins known for raising children with the intent of turning them into professional killers. Their attempts, thankfully, proved as unsuccessful as their attempts to remain covert in selling drugs. The CID found them and whoever they were working for purged them. Hell of a way to go. If I hadn't been so incompetent, maybe they wouldn't have been purged at all. Don't beat yourself up about it. The guild's priority is to keep civilians safe, not criminals. I don't want to say they deserved it for getting involved in organized crime, but it is what it is. Try putting that frustration you're feeling into more personal growth instead of letting it eat at you alive. I was told that while the siblings were going to need psychological counseling for some time, they were fully expected to recover and go back to their everyday lives. My meeting with them had triggered something inside of me. I came to realize that something needed to change. I had to take some kind of step forward. Even if it ended up me falling to the floor in some kind of dramatic fashion, I just needed to pick myself up again. With that in mind, I accepted my multiple recommendations. The times we live in demand a new hero. Doing so made me think of what my childhood friend said to me. I didn't believe I had what it took to be a hero, but if I could even just be a brief one able to give the people hope and banish the darkness ahead, then that was the reason enough to keep going. But that could make me somebody enough to fight alongside the real hero he once came to light. Well, shall we get down to business? Zen turned to face me, his classic broad grin even broader than usual. It'll be a while longer before the official paperwork's arrived from headquarters, but I'm sure they won't mind me speeding up this part of the process with how much they wanted this. The Republic now has a bracer who reached A rank at the same age as the Empire's Purple Lightning. Congrats on your promotion, Elaine Auclair, Beauty's Blade. Beauty's Blade. Forward, sword in hand. Beauty's Blade sounds super lame. And that's it. Suspension of a causality recording engine activity confirmed. Force connection to Astrolink severed. The whirlpool of causality engulfing Erebos and the fated land has at least been unraveled. Though the bell ringing in the end of days has yet to be silenced. You, the children of Zemuria, have earned your moment of peace until the time comes to face the final hour. Until you, with hope and fear in your hearts, must walk new trails. Funny enough, when I was using a translator for Kuro 1, they originally translated her name to Potato Woman. Her title was Potato Woman, and then Potato Sword Woman, Potato Z Woman. She was the potato lady.
Rendering browsing interface.
What? How does that even work? It's entirely done.
Rendering browsing interface.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, you know what? Hold on.
Executing recuperation program.
That's what it is. Alright. This is the last of all things. We're gonna test my knowledge of the game's lore. I completely forgot about this. The last difficulty. If the game's gonna load. I don't understand. Okay, I'm gonna reload it. Thankfully, it should have auto-saved. Thank God. Thank God for the autosave. Alright, let's try that again. We do a save though.
Executing recuperation program.
It's time to play.
There we go. Maniac difficulty. Oh my God.
Then we'll begin.
Hang on. Let me do this so you guys can see it too. Alright. Let's see. Gotta get 10 right. I get his former gamer and turn bracer his attitude has completely started over the years. Just how much older is he? That great source was 13 years. 12 years!
Incorrect.
I was close. Which river is in the Lemaire province? Fuck if I know. Lupinus River.
Oh, a pity.
Actually, hold on. Let me do this. What English text is printed on the shoulder of Yuna's travelwear? There's text on her travelwear?
Oh, no. Next.
Which of these phrases appears on the Trails of Cold Steel 4 DLC self-assertion panel? What the fuck is this?
Oh, no.
How many attributes are there among the lost arts that appear in the Trails of Cold Steel 2 and 4? 8. 7.
Our game is done. Then we'll begin.
I don't have time to think. What is Millennium's unique dish in Trails of Cold Steel 2? Bruh.
Oh, no. Have you
Michelin
got it?
Wonderland's most popular mascot, Mishy, loves to eat. What food is his favorite?
Oh, no.
I'm not a... I don't deserve to be a Mishy fan. How many playable characters in Trails of Cold Steel 4 have learned 5 SS crafts?
Oh,
I haven't gotten a single one right yet. So there's 4.
Next.
What is the name of the guardian to be fished in Trails of Cold Steel 2's waters? Emperor Perch? Act Tyrant.
Incorrect.
What is the name of the guardian? Oh. Grand Lake?
Our game is done.
I'll get it eventually.
May destiny guide.
Wait. I pressed the wrong one.
Oh,
Giant melon.
A pity.
Melon.
Next.
12. Oh my god, I actually got
Well
one right.
done.
What is
you got
Crow's
it?
unique dish? Underside fish burger. What is
Have you
Trails of
got
Cold
it?
Steel's opening theme?
Oh, no.
I don't remember these things. It's been too long. And 2? Luxurious
Well
chocolate
done.
fondue.
Next.
What English text? Oh, never give up.
Oh.
What is the name of Everboni's third emperor? I was literally gonna get Shion, but I won against my instinct. $31.
Our game is done.
Close enough. Alright, I got this time.
Then we'll begin.
I have the answer key. Download complete. I think.
Oh.
What is Elise's unique dish in Trails of Cold Steel?
Oh, a pity.
What is Crow's unique dish? Underside fish burger, I remember that.
Oh.
Armbrust is certainly the first person to come to mind when fish burgers are mentioned. Really? What is the skill of heaven attributed card to Ragnar Croy? What the fuck?
Incorrect. Have you got
In
it?
chapter 1 of the bestseller 3 and 9, who does N reveal to be Nada disguise herself as to infiltrate a passenger ship? Celia Reynard. I don't remember these things.
No.
It's been too long.
Well done. Have you got it?
It's 38 or 39. 40. What the
Our
fuck?
game is done. May destiny guide you.
What is Yureen's unique dish? I guessed right. Hunter
Well
Carbonara.
done.
What is the...
Oh, a pity.
I got my answers mixed up.
Next.
What is the name of the guardian to be fished? This was the Grand Lake Lord.
Correct. Next.
Celia.
Well done. Next.
Seven.
Correct.
Guessed correctly. Which card in Vantage Masters inflicts seal for 2 turns?
Oh, no. Next.
Which of these phrases appear? Oh my goddess.
Well done. Next.
What is Milliam's unique dish? Choco fondue.
Oh. Next.
What is the name of the guardian? Oh, this is Act Tyrant.
Oh. Next.
Which of these phrases appears on a self-assertion?
Correct. Next.
How many playable? I pressed.
Incorrect.
I meant to press 4.
Have you got it?
I swear to God, if I got that wrong, I probably would have had to quit this series forever.
Have you got it?
Azalea Bay.
Clever soul. Oh, why don't we continue? Our game. Very well. Could this failure too be fate?
I really passed? Wow, I don't feel good about it though.
Farewell.
Hey, now it's done. Woohoo!
Sporting Stone activated.
To work.
Alright. Well, that's that. I no longer need to play this game anymore.